lifetime average leader. Hey, don't forget Gail Myers is the lifetime average leader.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's bonus coverage from the 2013 USBC Open Championships. The fans asked for it, and here we are watching this star-studded pair of lanes here at the National Bowling Stadium. This is Matt Cannizzaro. Next to Aaron Smith, we've got some excellent guests in the building as well tonight. Mike Flanagan from Inside Bowling and Storm Products. Matt McNeil, USBC Silver Coach. USBC Hall of Famer Jeff Briggles, lifetime average leader Gail Myers Jr., and more. So sit tight. We'll be underway in just a few minutes. Practice is going on right now. About 8 minutes left, and then we'll be all set and ready for tonight's 7 p.m. team event. And we'll have the rosters for you and much more. Stay tuned.
Please hold practice. Practice is over.
All right, folks, practice is now over here at the National Bowling Stadium. We are behind lanes 21 and 22. Again, a star-studded cast here tonight on this pair of lanes. Some bonus coverage live from the 2013 USBC Open Championships. This is Van Canizaro. Aaron Smith is here gathering some information about tonight's equipment and strategy. Matt McNeil will be stopping by as well. Inside Bowling's Mike Flanagan in the house also. So a lot of folks and a lot of insight coming up tonight. Here's our first look at these two teams. On our left lane is Team High Five Gear. Andy Staub, Daryl Bean, Eddie Bird. Team USA member Stefanie Nation, and former PBA Rookie of the Year, Chris Johnson. And on lane 22, 2005 regular team champions Tom Adcock, Scott Rains, Mike Peters, joined by PBA champions Jeff Carter and Dominic Barrett. So a very talented group put together here. And I have a feeling we're going to see some great scores. We'll talk about their strategy as Adcock starts off the night. Dead flush, 10 back for a strike. Got a very exciting live stream weekend coming up. Tomorrow night, we'll see lifetime average leader Gail Myers Jr. and his talented team, the 2011 regular team champs. USBC Hall of Famer Jeff Riggles, Steve Richter, Mark McDowell, and Mike Shady joining Myers. They also claimed the Team All Events title in 2005. We'll have that for you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. So tune in here to Bowl TV. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/BowlTV. Get all the updates. Know when everything's going on here in the bowling world. Lucas Wiseman, always somewhere, globetrotting, bringing you the biggest events from around the country. And of course, Aaron Smith and I here in Reno for the USBC Women's and Open Championships. A lot of great bowling happening in Reno this year, and probably going to see some great scores here right in front of us. So thank you for joining us tonight on this last-minute addition to the live stream schedule. Here's our first look at Jeff Carter, one-time PBA champion. Let's address the first question in the chat room of the night. First and foremost, about PBA members bowling here at the Open Championships, and the current rule says that anybody who was exempt on the PBA Tour during the 2011-12 season, so if you were basically a touring pro, full-time living, exempt status in 2011-12, you're not eligible to bowl last year and not eligible to bowl this year. Of course, the question comes up about Dominic Barrett. Well, he won a title at the 11-12 World Series of Bowling, but he won it as a non-exempt player. And because the exempt status has gone away for the current PBA season, he's allowed to bowl this event. Now the rules are going to change for 2014, so because he has won a title in the last 2 years, he will not be eligible in 2014. But for now, all's good with Mr. Barrett. Appreciate him coming here from England. And Jeff Carter, also PBA champion, won his title back in 2009 at the PBA Geico Plastic Ball Championship. He also was not exempt last season, so here he is back at the Open Championships and hoping to put on a show for you guys tonight. So now that that's out of the way, Aaron Smith joining us. Let's talk strategy, Aaron. What'd you find out? All right, well, Aaron Smith having some technical difficulties. He'll be right with us. But we did hear early on that these guys were going to employ a plastic ball strategy, so to speak, during practice. Use some plastic balls down the inside part of the lane, carry some oil down to create some hold in the middle. And also part of the strategy typically to play the outside part of the lane with a little bit of surface to help break down the oil pattern. So we'll get those details and more as the night progresses. So Team Turbo Tech clean in frame number 1. And Adcock, who made a fantastic shot on lane 22 to start the night, goes light and leaves the 2-8-10 on the left lane. This year's team oil pattern, 41 feet. Scores very high so far this year. We have a record number of 3,400s, 12 in the books already, and we're just at the halfway point here in 2013. And on top of the standings, the record score, 35-38. Lodge Lanes 2 of Orlando, Florida. A lot of accomplishments in that group, led by John Gaines, 3-time champion here at the Open Championships, 2-time winner and Team USA member John Janowitz, former Team USA member Vernon Peterson, PBA champion Scott Newell, and 1987 Team All Events winner Mitch Dubinsky. So those guys were here the first weekend of April, rolled the highest team score in history. And now lead the team event.
Working a thumb.
So again, big scores in the team event. If you're going to get it, get out to an early start. Get a lot of pins, of course. 3,500 is a big number. And Aaron did go down and talk to these guys. So Aaron, what's happening down there?
Well, Matt, I took a second to talk to Chris Johnson a little bit just about the strategy. If you at home were probably wondering what was going on, Chris said 6 of the team members were using plastic balls in order to create a little bit of hold down lane for further on into the evening. And the other 4 were just trying to play their normal shot, try to get an idea of what was out there. So that's certainly not a new strategy, but it's something we really haven't seen on the broadcast yet this year. So we'll definitely see how it works out.
Well, these guys all very accomplished, as we talked about on Team Turbo Tech. 3 members of the 2005 regular team champs, Adcock, Raines, and Peters. They certainly know how to throw the big games here at the Open Championships. And of course, Carter and Barrett's resumes speak for themselves. High 5 gear. No slouches either. Chris Johnson PBA Rookie of the Year. 2004, Stefanie Nation, 3-time world champion. Nation and Johnson both double here to start things off for Team High Five gear. Barrett with a strike on the left lane. And one more question, Aaron, in the chat room about Tom Barrett's eligibility since he's from England. How is he able to bowl in the Open Championships without a league average? Well, a league average not required to bowl here at the Open Championships. You simply have to be a USBC member. And of course, Barrett's average would exceed the 180 cutoff anyway for the classified division. So if you don't have an average, you just come in at 220. And
that's what Terrell Owens did not too long ago. I think it was on this pair as well. Got his card here at the tournament, became a USBC member, and he's ready to bowl.
Well, this event, of course, one of the rights of membership for this fine organization of the United States Bowling Congress. $21 and the entry fee will get you out on the lanes here at the one-of-a-kind National Bowling Stadium. As Aaron mentioned, we saw a little bit of a unique strategy here in the 2011 team event, or 2013, sorry. This pattern is similar to the 2011 team event. Of course, this year for the first time in history, 2 different lane conditions. A 41-foot pattern here for team, and a 39-foot pattern similar to last year for doubles and singles.
Once again, we're watching a little bit different look here from most of the teams we've seen. A lot of guys burning up the outside portion of the lane and staying as far right as they can. But yeah, these guys are a little further left than what we've been seeing. So then again, they were throwing plastic as well, trying to create that hold for later on in the day.
Well, Aaron, we've seen all kinds of strategies, and we'll probably see a little different one tomorrow night with Riggles and his guys. No doubt they're probably going to be starting out far to the right with some surface to break down the lane, create a little bit of area as the night progresses. Of course, we saw that work for them in 2011 when they finished the night with the highest game in history, 1281. So it's all part of the bigger picture. Of course, you use your 10 minutes of practice wisely. I know Riggs and the guys up in the bleachers behind us watching this strategy here to see how it pans out, and if maybe they need to tweak their game plan for tomorrow. So far, it looks like this left lane giving everybody some trouble. We saw Adcock with the 2-8-10. Now Stefanie doesn't get it quite to the head pin. Leaves the 2-4-10. This pattern a little bit longer, a little bit slicker. Certainly one of the keys is to get off to a solid start. And the goal is that the lane will open up as the night progresses and make it that much easier to create some angle and knock all the pins down.
Nice shot there by Chris Johnson. Looks like that is a roto grip disturbed. We've been seeing a lot of those out here. It's been a popular ball choice here in 2013.
Well, Aaron, it's already on Facebook, the discussion about their team strategy for tonight. Start it inside 10, throw in plastic, create some hold in the middle. Only time will tell. Good shot there from Adcock, leaves the 10 pin. 2 strikes on the right. Not much happening on the left.
Well, it's tough to get away from a proven method that we've seen time and time again here. We've seen a lot of big 3300s, a lot of 3400s, even a few 3500s. But maybe this is the thinking to get to that 36. If you want to throw that out there.
Well,
a lot of talk about big numbers this year in team events, so maybe getting away from the status quo, if you will be beneficial in the long run, or it might come back to bite them.
Well, of course, part of the goal here is to find the right strategy and game plan, and stick with it. You gotta brave it out sometimes, and sometimes you gotta know when to jump ship. So this one, they've committed to it, and we'll see. It's either going to be the greatest move of the year, or it's going to hurt them. Again, time will tell. But while we have this opportunity and we're getting settled here in game number 1, let's get somebody on the wireless here and have a little more input here in the booth. Just 1 second, everybody. And Mike Flanagan and Matt McNeil standing by, so stay tuned. We appreciate everybody stopping by tonight for this bonus coverage. Live from the NBS. Great bowlers. The fans wanted it. Here we are. Matt McNeil stopping by as well. We'll have him for a few minutes. Mike Flanagan standing by. Aaron, I think we're about to have the night off, to be honest with you. We'll maybe have open mic night here and turn things over to these guys. We'll just come back to clean it up. Certainly, they have more experience and insight. Interesting always to hear what the different viewpoints are as we watch things unfold. Mr. McNeil, we've been talking about their strategy tonight. The few guys playing further inside with plastic to create a little bit of push and hold in the middle there. Something that we haven't seen yet this year, really. What do you think about that as the a featured coach downstairs on the showcase lanes? Maybe. Matt McNeil having some mic trouble.
I think the battery's dead. The battery died last show.
So we'll hear from Matt in just a minute as soon as we get this mic swapped out. In the meantime, take a look at Chris Johnson working on 3 in a row, looking for a 4-bagger. And there's a 5 count. As I disassemble this 3rd microphone.
That should be the live stream.
No kidding. How many media relations staff members does it take to change the batteries in a microphone? McNeil's going to tinker with it. We're going to watch some bowling. I do feel a little bit less intelligent now.
I feel better for watching, though.
Actually, hey, wait, here it is. All right, we're back in business. There's 13 compartments on this microphone. Please turn your attention to Tom Adcock on the right lane. He's 2 for 2 on this lane in a ring 10. Daryl Bean up on the left, striking 3 spares, clean through 4. The score they're shooting at 35-38, high score in Open Championships history. Appreciate everybody joining us. Greg Zika, Dave Armstrong. A lot of great bowlers in the house as well. All right, we're in business. We're technological geniuses here.
How about that?
Booth. There is Mr. McNeil, the voice of the Showcase Lanes, here to talk a little bit of strategy. And, I'm going to guess that based on the driven to bowl turbo grip shirts these guys are wearing and the turbo jacket that you are wearing, that you might have talked to these guys before and have some thoughts about what we're seeing out there.
Well, yeah, I actually I got to bowl. I bowled a doubles tournament with Scott Rains down in St. Louis, and magnificent player, and really nice guy too. And then me and Scott and Mike Peters bowled a trios tournament over in Peoria. So I have a little on the lanes experience with these guys. I didn't get all that much talk time with them before they hit the lanes, but I did get to watch the warm-ups. And it looks like we have, really one of the first teams that we're seeing to elect to throw plastic down the middle. And
well, can we take a brief timeout before we continue?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I know you're a bowling historian.
Yes.
You love the game. Here we are in the live stream booth watching some great bowlers, and over your right shoulder, just out of nowhere, here we are. Glenn Allison just stopping by to check out the action. I don't know. I still get a little bit starstruck every now and then when we're watching some bowling and the stars come in. But how cool is that, man? I don't know. As McNeil bows to Glenn Allison, USBC Hall of Famer, champion here at this event. 60-plus years on the tournament lanes, and he's looking for some tips right now watching these guys. So. Didn't mean to interrupt, but certainly a perk of the job. Always cool to see the guys who made this happen. Part of the reason we're here because of them. Very cool. And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Yes, it is an honor to just be standing in some of the presence of a lot of the great bowlers of this tournament, especially Mr. Allison, who's I hope I get halfway there before my knees and my back and my arm and everything else goes out on me. But anyways, going back to it, so these guys won team all events or team event back in
Rains, Adcock, and Peters team event in 2005. Very challenging condition that year. They shot just over 3,300. Almost blew away the field. It seemed like a score that we didn't think we'd see that year, and they made it happen. So certainly very capable and have been contenders before and ever since.
And, all great players from the Midwest. These guys are staples. If you bowl a boot hill or anything like that, you're going to find these guys coming out to take your money, and they're very good at doing that. So going back to talking about throwing plastic down the middle, if I was going to coach a team, like let's say I had these 10 guys down at the Showcase Lanes, I honestly don't think I would make that an important thing. I'm not going to say it's a negative, but I guess in my mind, I won't say that you have to throw plastic down the middle. So, I mean, for people coming out to the tournament, is this something that's going to make or break you? I don't think so. I think maybe in singles doubles, you might be a little more advantageous to do so. But with this pattern, there is a lot of hold built into this pattern, and especially on the stadium lanes, which the back ends play a little tighter, you get a little more shim anyways. So I guess I don't know why they did it, but hopefully it works out to their advantage. You know, and right now, just in warm-ups, I mean, we're seeing, you know, guys around 15 laying the ball down, and that's where John Gaines' group finished. So differing styles. You know, down at the showcase lanes, I'm preaching starting, you know, around 7, 8, 9, 10 in that area, and then working our way in. But we'll see what happens with the differing style here. Who knows?
Well, the left lane, again, giving some trouble. A flat dime there for Carter. As you can see, he did not strike on that lane last time. So interesting to see how that comes into play as the night progresses. And, you know, once they figure out the left lane, certainly.
Now, how much do you think that the fact that this is probably one of the, I don't know how I want to put this, but as far as revolutions and what these guys can do to a bowling ball, how much do you think that played into kind of straying away from what we've been seeing out here?
Well, that has a lot to do with it. But, you know, even for guys who are more, you know, if you're a power player and you're a really good bowler, you can play up the boards, okay? You know, a lot of the better power players in today's game are able to play up the boards, and they're able to play up the boards very effectively. But, you know, so I would almost have to say that you kind of have to sacrifice. I mean, I would, if I was running the team, I'd say, well, let's try to sacrifice the first game, you know, and maybe we get one or two guys that are a little straighter, they get hot for 240, 250, and then the rest of us grind out 2-1 until we can start moving left and opening up the lane a little bit and getting more into our comfort zones. You know, and that way we still start with 1100, so we haven't shot ourselves in the foot for 36, for a chance at, not 36, I should say, but a chance at 35, 38. And, you know, and then we can start moving in and everybody can get comfy. So I guess if I was going to be the team captain, that's what I'd say. But I think you're right on, Mr. Smith, that, you know, we're seeing a lot of heavy-handed folks here, and they're going to try to start more in their comfort zone.
Well, with the scores as high as they have been this year, there's only so much room for sacrifice. You need to still get out of the gates pretty big. You know, 1100, 11 and change. Otherwise, you're going to have a whole lot of work to do in games 2 and 3. And we saw Gaines' group come out 12:06, I believe, was their first game, and so they had a very nice head start and finished strong when they needed to. They threw the big shots, and of course broke the 20-year-old team record by 1 pin. John Janowicz stepped up and buried 3 in the 10th to get him there. Had no idea that's what he needed. A fantastic performance for those guys, but again, you know, they got a head start. They weren't playing catch-up by any means, and they bowled early, so they set the number. Quite a few runs at it since that day. A couple 3,500s, 3,400 in record numbers this year, so you can't give away too much early on.
No, you certainly can. I mean, especially, like you said, when we're looking at, well, I mean, you figure a top 5 score is now, what, 3,470?
Right around there.
Mr. Smith, you're the numbers guy, so I'll lean on you for that one.
3,469. So
all right.
Right
so you look at 3,469. Okay, so, I mean, unless you're going to go 1,200, you need to start with at least 1,100 and change. And particularly a good 1,100, so you're not saying, well, you know, pretty much we got to have 4 250s on the pair, on the team. So, you know, that's a heck of a bar to reach. All I'm going to say is, and you know, those guys every day, I don't think it, knowing what it feels like to kind of be in the lead, it's very hard to let things sink in and know what you've accomplished. But I hope those guys back home, being out here every day, watching teams every single day, I really hope those guys can sit back, even if they don't win this year, just to appreciate being a pioneer and breaking that 20-year-old record. whether it wins or it goes down. But just to be the first ones to do it in 20 years, I think that says a lot about that group of bowlers and how truly amazing bowlers they are, and just what a feat they all accomplished. So I know they're sweating it out back home. I know the feeling, but I really hope they look at the glass as half full, saying, we did something in 20 years that nobody else has done, and we were the first ones to do it. So I think that's a pretty cool aspect that they have.
We know John Gaines is certainly a man who comes out here and loves this tournament, absolutely loves this tournament. And I mean, we could see it with all those guys talking to him. Matt got to talk to him a little bit after, and the emotions were there, and they realized the significance of that number, and certainly it's fun to be a part of.
Well, it's always fun to be a part of a record, but it's not going to matter much, and they know it if that score doesn't win. So there's a brief celebration at that moment, but the real celebration would then come on July 7th when it's all in the books and they have a record and a team title. So still a long way to go. We're just past the halfway point, and a lot of great teams. Obviously, we're watching two of them right now. We'll see another couple teams tomorrow night, and all kinds of live stream action here for the rest of the 2013 Open Championships. You can find that schedule on bowl.com. And if you happen to be on bowl.com and you want to venture to the Open Championships page and find the X-Bowling information, you can go to xbowling.com or find the X-Bowling app on your iPhone or Android device. You can go check that out. Live scoring, frame by frame, from the Open and Women's Championships right now.
Right now, you can go ahead and look at 33 and 4. Kevin Hatch with the front seven. A few pairs to our right. So
a lot of great bowlers on this squad.
Yes,
a few
sir.
pairs down. It looks like Troy Johansson has the front six. So his might turn red here in just a minute. A lot of names on this squad. We'll keep an eye across the house. A lot of strikes being thrown for sure in front of us and all around us. So a lot of great action. But again, if you're curious about what's happening on other lanes or at any other time of day, you can go to xbowling.com and see frame by frame scoring, leaderboards of different varieties, all kinds of crazy oddities on there, different things and stats. And you can also sign up for the 90 frame X game, your chance to throw a few strikes and potentially take home $50,000. So check that out, xbowling.com, and check out all the great scores from here at the Open Championships.
I made $5 on my X-Bowling tournament. Well, actually, I got $5 back. That team event cost me a few dollars, I think, but overall, I got a check for $5 from Mr. Scott Stone. So I don't even know if I'll cash it. I just might frame that one. You know, I cashed in the inaugural X-Bowling 90 frame X game challenge. So, but speaking of the red strikes, when you see your strikes turn red, you're getting ahead. That's gonna be my rhyme.
You're not getting in trouble.
No, sir.
It's interesting to talk to some of these guys after they shoot 300 here at the Open Championships, and we just saw our 18th perfect game yesterday. But they always say, you know, if they're new to the whole scene and the scoreboards here at the National Bowling Stadium, they thought that meant they were in trouble, and they start looking around for a lane monitor or a tournament official. But that just means we want everybody to turn and look. And if you're going to shoot 300 on the big stage, you know, you have to do it with the cameras and the bright lights and all eyes on you. And here's Kevin Hatch up on lane 33. We'll see if he can make it 8 in a row. Again, we saw our 18th perfect game yesterday, and it was a gentleman who made an interesting move and shot 300 with a plastic ball. So, again, the lane conditions here at the Open Championships are challenging. Certainly you have to make good shots and make your spares, but the lanes can be attacked from all different ways, all different styles. And bowling, of course, is a sport for all ages and skill levels, and it doesn't matter. Just get out there and throw strikes. He did it, and that's number 18 in the books. And Mr. Hatch has 8 in a row, so we'll keep our eyes on him as well.
Matty, I might, do you want me to venture down and get a little lane side report there, or what do you think?
Well, we'll
too early?
Too early, I think.
Too early.
8 in a row, and we'll give him a chance to get a couple more, and then the crowd will gather, no doubt. big crowds on hand. The great bowlers in the building. Saw Steve Fair earlier, USBC Hall of Famer, 6-time champ, and his talented group. The 2006 team champs and 2007 team all events, so they'll be on the lanes this weekend as well.
Plus, we can't forget the peanut gallery we have behind us. No slouches themselves. We have Jeff Riggles and his crew sitting up right behind us in the stands. Hopefully we don't get any beer or popcorn dumped on us. So I know they're watching intently on what these guys are doing out here.
A lot of folks at home as well. We already said hi to Greg Zika and Dave Armstrong, Ronnie Horton in the building, Mark London, Chris Hester. So it's as star-studded online as it is here around us. And we appreciate everybody joining us for this bonus coverage from the 2013 USBC Open Championships. These two teams hoping not to disappoint. We're glad to see themselves as a last-minute addition to our live stream schedule. We have more than 24 broadcasts on the books for this year, but always looking for an opportunity to get some bonus coverage. And last year's bonus coverage of Matt McNeil turned out pretty well for us when we stayed on the air for a few extra hours, and we saw the first person in tournament history with 3 800s and 2 additional titles. So you never know, but there's a great shot from Stefanie Nation. She's got strikes in 7 out of 8 frames, and Chris Johnson going to step up on the right lane, also with a chance at 7 in the first 8 frames. So frame number 8, very good to the team high 5 gear, folks. And Team TurboTech struggling to put some strikes together.
Yeah, I think we need to see a lot of X's if they're not going to be in the hole early, which we talked about. And that shot's a little errant. Good break there for Chris.
Nice break.
Now, Chris and Stefanie are engaged and will be getting married this summer. So we wish those guys a happy engagement up until their wedding day, and then, of course, a great long-lasting marriage, and hopefully they'll be a great bowling couple, as we've seen many, the Barneses and that kind of thing. So hopefully we have another great bowling couple.
Certainly an accomplished couple. Again, CJ, the 2004 PBA Rookie of the Year. Stefanie, a 3-time world champion. They are leading their team here at the Open Championships.
We've seen a lot of 10 pins on 21 today throughout this first game. Dom Barrett.
Dom was talking about the rack on 21. He came up the stairs here and he was talking with me earlier about it. He didn't like it.
Well, as they know, if there's a persistent problem, of course, it looks perfect from here, sitting right behind lane 21. Doesn't seem to be any issues, but of course, lane monitors are here to help with any concerns, and certainly we wouldn't allow anybody to bowl under any conditions that are not favorable. So everything looks good from back here. That shot even better. Tom Adcock for 4 in a row, leadoff bowler for Team TurboTech. So he is locked in. See if we can get the rest of the team on board.
Ooh. That's not a good shot at an inopportune time for Mr. Staub.
Kevin Hatch's run of strikes comes to an end on lane 33.
With an 8.
After the front 8, but Troy Johnson looks like at least up to the front 7 now, so
Right.
It's a few pairs further right, 39 and 40 perhaps.
That looks right. It looks like Kevin did a drive-by on the head pin. I think I saw the 1-2 up there.
Well, Kevin Hatch will not shoot 300 here at the Open Championships. 8 spare in the 9th frame. But Troy Johansson still going strong. 7 in a row. Few pairs down.
Daryl Bean with an early double First double of the game, so he sets himself up. Brings up the Birdman, Eddie Bird.
There was a question in the chat room about how many 300s in team event compared to doubles and singles. Well, it looks like 13 of the 18 have been in the team event.
I think we've only had one in doubles so far.
Only one in doubles. It was a first-timer, Dave Woffington, just a couple days ago. So again, this team pattern this year, 41 feet. And a little bit extra hold. And higher scoring, as you can see by the leaderboards. Take 3,400 plus to get in the top 10 here in 2013. 35-38, the number on top. Things a little bit different in doubles and singles. 39-foot pattern. And it's something that a lot of folks aren't used to is fresh oil for doubles and singles. So now fresh oil for every squad here in 2013. And instead of 4 on a pair, 6 bowlers on a pair. And you don't flip lanes, so you're there. All 6 games on one pair, all 6 of you. Kind of like the team event. Strategy, very important. Playing the lanes the right way. And, it's a marathon, so you got to look big picture and think about being there 6 games. And, the doubles and singles pattern playing a little bit tougher to start. Again, the fresh oil, until you break them down a little bit. Currently on top of doubles, 14-22. And again, only 1 300 in the doubles event. But a great new feature here at the format for the Open Championships. So always on the cutting edge, looking to make the event better and as fair as possible, of course. And made a lot of changes here in 2013, and things seem to be well received. So glad to hear about that.
And guys, I'm standing here next to the man with the golden pencil, Jeff Regals. And Jeff, what do you think about the lane play so far? What do you think about the strategy?
Well, it's certainly not something a team like ours would do. Our teams, we're so straight compared to these guys. But when you have as high a rev rate as these guys have, they have to do something. They're not going to play straight up 8-board for 3 games or 2 games or whatever. This is some high rev rate guys. So I guess I applaud them for coming up with a strategy that fits their games. And they're getting a lot of strikes now, so, decent. But the game they're shooting here, you add it up better than me. You're good at that. But, my theory is that you got to get 1,100 the first game if you want to make a run at that, and I don't know if they're going to quite get there.
Well, yeah. Well, that's a good point. We were just talking about that earlier in the booth here about how important it is to get out to at least an 1,100 plus start, because otherwise you're looking at a couple of big 1,200s, and that's almost just putting too much weight on the shoulders of any team.
Our theory up there talking among our team watching this is that if it's a pattern that people have shot 1,200 on in the first game, why do you have to trick it with plastic balls up the middle, for example? I don't see that that's necessary, unlike the minors pattern, perhaps. So if people can shoot that kind of score out of the gate, then it's there. Why try some? And it looks to me, watching it, that plastic and that oil down in the back end is causing some balls to stop or hesitate in the back end, and it's hurting their carry. It's resulted in several 210s that I've seen, so I don't know. But these guys got such high rev rates, we're going to see what happens the last couple games. But look at that shot there. Scott Raines is a power player, and his ball's just doing nothing in the back end. So I don't know. It's fascinating. I like watching this, kind of like what we saw with your Minnesota buddies, trying something different.
Well, Matt, with the higher rev players, certainly those guys can do a little bit extra work. So, why not have a couple of them to the right with their surface to do the usual breakdown, and then let the other folks, in to create a little more of that hold for down the road. Again, it's only the end of game number 1. Tom Adcock opens in the 10th for 202, but we won't know till the end, obviously, how their strategy came into play, and if they end up moving, far enough left where that hold really makes a difference. We'll see.
You guys were talking about scores. From what I can garner up here, Team Turbo Tech with a big out still has 1080s up there, 1085 to be exact by my poor math. But and then Team High Five Gear still has 1100 out there, a small 1100 with a bunch of strikes. So that actually might be enough to knock them out of the 1100s there. So, but yeah, they certainly have their work cut out for them here in game number 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the weight's really going to be on the shoulders, and you hate to think about, well, we don't have a chance to take over the lead anymore after the first game, but that's a big, big hole, so we'll see what happens.
Well, these guys also experienced enough to know that, the big picture includes team all events as well. So even if you're not going to take home the team title, you certainly want to get every pin you can for the team all events marathon. That's 45 games long. This is just, 15 of them. This is a third of the way. So you're going to get everything you can, of course, with 35-38 being the goal. But it's all about tomorrow as well. And Carter again, that ball just slides down the lane on 21 and almost leaves the bucket. So they're going to have to make a move or do some thinking here, some talking heading into game 2 as they try to conquer lane 21, because that seems to be the wild card here.
And I'm seeing some head shaking up in the peanut gallery, Matty. So we'll see what happens. How about Mr. Bird though? He's flapping the wings. He's shaking and baking out there. I like to see that. He's a great guy. Great guy. Throws a tremendous ball too. Really can turn it up.
No doubt, you kind of have to be somebody, some accomplishments to be part of this group. And I believe Eddie from the Midwest St. Louis area, if I'm not mistaken. I know Emil was familiar with him in his game a little bit. Maybe Emil will chime in as the night progresses. And we've got our eye on Troy Johnston or Johansson. Looks like he got a 9 count, so his run at 300 now over as well. A lot of good scores on the board. There's a 268. Stephen Haas, possible 279 here on 27 and 28. There's a 243. So team event, again, yielding some very high scores. It's just a matter of all the guys coming together and putting up some big numbers. So far, Tom Adcock, 202. Scott Raines, 210. Jeff Carter finishes with 201. And team high 5 gear struggling. Andy Staub, 168. Daryl Bean, 214. Eddie Bird, huge finish for 233. So the bottom half of this lineup getting it done for team high 5 gear. Ironically, none of them wearing high 5 gear.
That's a good observation. The guys who do have the high 5 shirts are the Turbo Tech guys. They all have high 5 shirts on. Hopefully we're not getting them in hot water by saying that. So we got Steph up here on the right lane, 10th frame. Spare working. 240 out there. That's a little wide. Oh, how about that? I tell you what, guys. Honestly, in my mind, absolutely without a doubt, one of the top female players in the world. Easily. And she has the credentials to prove it. She's just fundamentally so good. Very simple. Very effective. Especially when she can play up the boards, too. But she'll play in. She was also part of that Women's U.S. Open show here that was held outside, so she obviously knows the stadium, does very well in the stadium. And then, of course, was bowling in the streets of Reno.
That was certainly an exciting event and the very unique aspect of bowling on Virginia Street underneath the famed Reno Arches. Now, Matt, what do you think about with everyone else kind of playing left? How much is that helping or hurting where Stefanie's at right now?
Well, I'm thinking right now it's not all that bad. I think maybe she might have a little extra push to the left, but the only thing that I raise an eyebrow at is that they're using some surface in there, so that might be throwing a wrench at it. But she's such a good player, she can almost overcome all that traffic to the left of her. So I imagine her to have a good second couple games here if she can play with the boys a little bit and maybe do some wheeling and dealing. Nice shot from Dominic Barrett there. Looks like he switched to the Storm Gold IQ Tour. And boys, we're seeing some 18, 19, 20 board laydown points already. And that's area we have not seen yet.
Well, no doubt when they make that move, it's going to be a big move. These guys can certainly wheel the ball. And they might have to do that.
Guys, I'm laneside here with Stefanie Nation. She wanted to say hello to some people back home.
I just want to say hi to Mom and Dad. I know you're watching.
Hi, Mom and Dad. Don't forget Keith Nation, left-handed brother. Stefanie grew up not far from where I did, in South Florida. So she was a few years behind me. You're coming up in the low setter bowling tournaments, the Florida Scratch Youth Bowlers Tour, and then a star at the University of Central Florida before her Team USA days.
And it looks like trying to get a re-rack here. We have a mechanic here trying to remedy the problem. Chris doesn't like the looks of that rack. He's going to ask for another one. Mr. Smith, what's the rule on re-racks? 2 per game?
We'll have to double check on that one.
I know in the Boot Hill tournament, Woody Dem always makes a point of, you get 2 re-racks. After that, no more re-racks.
Great Woody impression there.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Woody's a great guy for our sport. So if you're listening, thank you, Woody. Also quite the sports handicapper, too. If you ever want to know who to bet on, make sure to ask Woody. All right. Dom with a nice double. Or triple, I should say. That'll get him into 220s. Big shot for Chris Johnson. That'll put him 240s. All right, Dom finishes up. So for Team Turbo Tech, we have a opening game of 1050.
1050 and 1059. So these guys certainly going to have a lot of work to do to get to 35-38. That is a monster number, and if every talented team that comes through here and gives it a run, certainly you can get away from you quick.
CJ finishes up with 240 for a 1089.
1089. That's a nice starting game out there. 240. That's a good start.
So Vernon Peterson, part of that Lodge Lanes 2 team, he's checking in the chat room, no doubt. Those guys doing a little bit of sweating, especially this weekend. Again, very talented teams coming through. Riggles and crew on the lanes tomorrow night. Steve Bear and his guys. You just never know. Perhaps it'll be somebody we've never heard of putting up the monster number here in 2013.
And looking at the current top 10 here for regular team, looking at that 1050 and 1089 totals, we actually have half of the teams in the top 10 start off with similar numbers. 1053 is the lowest. Team Paps out of Verona, Wisconsin, featuring Chris Gibbons. But all those teams came back with a real nice big 1100 or 1200 to get to that point. So need a lot of strikes here. Our current team all events leaders, Junior Team USA Support 1, actually started with a 1063 before putting up back-to-back 1200s, 1205, 1253 before getting to 3521. Just 17 pins off that number, but they a little disappointed to not walk away with the lead there, but they came back strong the next day for sure.
All right, solid game to our left. Why bother on lane 14? Already over 1100. And their final bowler not done here in game number 1. So we'll keep our eyes on them.
That's a good start. Those guys are from Minnesota. I bowled all those guys. I bowled Friday Night League with all those guys. And then they also have a female on the team, Ryan Oswood, who had 244.
244 with an open in the 10th.
Yes, that could have been a big
number out there.
So they had 2 opens in the 10th, and they still shot 1132. That's a lot.
Well, certainly got to make your spares here, and you never know when spares or count are going to be the difference between a title and a watch.
I'm glad you guys didn't live stream my team event. I did a drive-by on a 6-pin that was pretty horrendous.
You bounced back nicely, though.
Yeah, I came back the next night. You know, the only motivation to bowl well was making sure I didn't make a complete fool of myself on the live stream and give you guys a show. So
certainly did that. It's fun watching you make the run at the regular singles lead.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Still sitting in second right now, so.
Mm-hmm. I like Mike Peters' movements up there. He kind of has, there's a guy who won the high roller a couple times. His name's Roger Bladd, and he kind of moves like Roger Bladd did up on the lanes. He's got these hip jerks and the moves and the kind of thing, and he's very entertaining to watch and very intense guy. Nice guy, too. Let me stay at his house when we bowled that tournament.
So Aaron, you mentioned sending a text message to Mike Flanagan to have him come down and join us in the booth. Unfortunately, that would not be
is that his phone sitting over there?
a doable option at this point. His phone is attached to my computer charging. So we'll just wait for him to wander back this way. Certainly some insight from Mr. Flanagan in his new position at Storm Products and his experience in the booth at Inside Bowling. So looking forward to having him on to hear his thoughts as he gets ready for his shot at the 2013 Open Championships. Once again, folks, thank you for joining us here. This is some bonus coverage from the 2013 event here at the National Bowling Stadium. We're watching 10 great players, and this is Matt Cannizzaro, Matt McNeil, and Aaron Smith. Coming to you live from behind lanes 21 and 22. Some great scores across the house. There's a 278 down the way and 1132 to our left. These guys right here, Team High Five Gear, 1089 in game number 1, and Team Turbo Tech, 1050. And if I was going to bet money coming into this night, I wouldn't have guessed necessarily that the scores would have turned out the way they did there in game number 1, but still a long way to go.
Yeah, like we said, you know, these guys are very easily capable of hanging a couple of 1250s up there. You know, these guys can all strike a ton. So we'll see what happens here. Just like Junior Team USA Support, you know, they had the back stretch was a lot of X's up there. So we'll see what happens here.
Big 1200 for them in game number 3 of the team event. Just came up shy of the team lead, but got their chance at it the next day in doubles and singles and came up firing. And now the team all events leader, 10,247 for Junior Team USA Support 1. A big number, especially with the difficulty and the fresh oil there for doubles and singles. That number, again, a couple teams have made a run, but not in a while. So interesting to see after this weekend. I know Eric Familia on the edge of his seat as well. Vernon Peterson, John Gaines, Everybody's sorting it out. Wish I knew what that felt like, Matt. You certainly do. When you put up a big number, you know, or a mediocre number even early enough, but it's a long, long wait.
Yeah, it is, and it's a lot of hits on bowl.com. Let me tell you, it's I think I probably gave you guys, I don't know, probably 100 hits a day or something like that. It was pretty bad. I had you guys on like a permanent link on my taskbar.
Well,
So
the Open Championships page, the most visited page on bowl.com, I think, besides Find a Member and maybe the league standing sheets between February and July. But it's probably you guys, the guys in the lead. I'm just checking it out. Of course, that's what technology is all about. And I know I've talked to John Drabinski a few times along the way, just to get an idea. Dean Billings just the other day actually made a great run at all events. Came up 14 pins short with 22-14. Settled into second place after bowling the first 800 of the year. Just one on the books, 813 in the team event on this 41-foot pattern. A great head start going into doubles and singles. He did shoot 169, and that's what did him in. First game of doubles on that fresh condition.
Steph with a nice early double there. She's throwing it really good. She came to play here, so she's gonna be leading, if not hanging right up there with the boys.
All right, we're now joined by Mike Flanagan, who's got the longest job title situation. He's the man behind the Inside Bowling and now part of Storm Products. Mike, welcome, and you've been all around lately. What's been going on?
I am around. I'm happy to be here. How do I turn up this headset? I'm out of my comfort zone here. Normally I'm the guy touching all the knobs. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on this webcast here. Special treat for everybody. It was a nice little bonus that I got to see on Facebook today as I landed. And a lot of familiar faces to me right here in front of us. I mean, we've done a lot of live streaming back home. Fusion Realtors, which Mr. McNeil is very aware of that event. Mike Peters made the finals this year. He's a very underrated player. Most people that are watching may not know who Mike is, but he's an awesome bowler. Jeff Carter's personal doubles partner every year back home in St. Louis. And Eddie Bird left Randy Lightfoot's team this year for the opportunity to come over and bowl with these guys. And Eddie's a high rev player, and I was watching him the first game, and he's a little deeper than where you would normally want to attack this pattern. I know you guys have been talking about that, but Eddie was able to string strikes there at the end and has a really good look. So as this thing develops, as you guys have been talking about, I'm sure we're going to see these guys with these higher rev rates show us how it's done or fail. So this is probably one of the most interesting webcasts that I've watched this year. I've watched all of them, which you guys with Mr. McNeil here this year, it's a lot of added pressure off of you, Matt, because we know Mr. McNeil loves to come over and give his 2 cents. As you can see how comfortable he is down here in the booth with his wireless mic, Matty.
Well, it's nice to be able to facilitate and have folks who know what they're actually talking about come in and talk about what's going on. Of course, McNeil, the featured coach downstairs on the 900 Global Showcase lanes, so he gets paid to help bowlers succeed here at the Open Championships, and certainly a lot of insight there. And Mike, you've watched online at home. You've gotten to see all the different strategies and how things develop, and from a little different perspective than we have here. Of course, you know from your time in the booth at the IB events, sometimes you're talking and watching. There's so many things going on, and you get a little different perspective. Here we can barely even see what's going on, to be honest with you. But that's where it comes in with all the experts and all the different viewpoints. But what are some things you've learned watching all the different broadcasts this year? We've seen very talented players, all different strategies, and some good scores, some bad scores, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, well, I still think the old 7, 8, 9 and team event, as many people as you can get together collaboratively to play that area of the lane comfortably without getting handcuffed is the right strategy. But not everybody throws the ball that way. I watched Matty here just kind of cruise along through 6 games and say, oh, I've got 3 more games to do something special here, and just came up a few pins short. And I'm watching Eric Fritten down on 45 and 6 just a few minutes ago, using the same layout Matt uses on his bowling balls that he's been using for 3 years and playing about the same part of the lane. And he's got a great look here bowling in the building right now. So, you know, we're going to watch Wriggles tomorrow night as you've got back-to-back nights, the old doubleheader webcast coming up here, where I'm sure Wriggles and his group are going to be out further. And as they actively admit, if you've read his blogs the last few years, that playing out for their rev rates is the right answer. And, you know, he believes Shady's going to have this unbelievable set this year. He just thinks that Shady has got a chance at all events this year. And it's going to be interesting to see just how correct Mr. Wriggles is. But hey, you mentioned about the Inside Bowling stuff. Still the CEO of InsideBowling.com, which we've had a great ride for the last couple of years. It's been so cool just getting to establish myself as someone in the industry under a new brand. But, you know, I've been talking to the folks at Storm who've given us a lot of love the last couple of years, and we've been working together to try to come up with some sort of job position for me. And I am pleased to announce, as I did last week, that, you know, I'm the new director of marketing at Storm Bowling Products, and I just could not be happier about that new role. It's a dream job for me. I have to almost wake up every day and pinch myself to even realize that that's the gig that I have. And got a special promotion as I like to get interactive with people, and Storm is a great sponsor of this event. Been coming here many years, getting my picture taken with a bunch of Storm bowling balls in front of me. And to anybody that's watching the webcast tonight or tomorrow, you can go onto the Storm shop at stormbowling.com, and you can use the coupon code BOWLTV, all capital letters, BOWLTV, and you can get 20% off anything in the Storm shop. So check that out. That coupon code is good through midnight tomorrow night. So for this back-to-back webcast with Dom Barrett and Jeff Carter and Wriggles and these guys, we wanted to do something special. And as you will see moving forward, we'll continue to get more interactive. That's kind of what I bring to the table. I will not be utilized for designing bowling balls or creating new cover stocks. That is not my job there. So, but I'm really excited about it.
Well, Mike, we do appreciate that, and of course everything Storm offers to the USBC Open and Women's Championships, of course, right next door on lanes 69 through 78 here at the National Bowling Stadium for the first time side by side. The Storm Bowlers Journal Championships presented by USBC, an opportunity to win some extra prize money. 67 years of the Bowlers Journal Championships and USBC Open Championships together for the first time in the same building here in 2013. And the BJ featuring the doubles and singles lane condition from this year's event. So if you'd like a look at that pattern and potentially take home some prize money, check out the Storm Bowlers Journal Championships. And of course, Storm also plays a big role in Bowling Ball Express. Every box that leaves this building filled with bowling balls is a Storm box, so we do appreciate that as well. And no doubt we're going to see a lot of you in the next couple of years as we continue the relationship here, and as you get more hands-on with everything happening here at the tournament, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. I know everybody back at the home office, we had sales meetings last week, and just talking about our involvement, you know, being the Bowlers Company with events like this and other ones throughout the country. We really got to support, you know, competitive bowling and the larger events like this. And what a nice job by moving that into this facility. You guys have had to go to squad times now because of the unbelievable amount of entries that have been coming in. Is that record numbers now?
Yeah, at one point, I believe it was like 1,500% early in the tournament. Just unbelievable. You know, the opportunity, of course, having it here in the building, a no-brainer as far as participation, and the chance to see the doubles and singles lane condition. I know, although it didn't help very much, you know, I took advantage of that opportunity just a few feet from my office. Went out there, took off the tie, bowled some doubles, bowled some singles. Great chance to just get comfortable with the venue, with the approaches, and the lane condition. And certainly encourage everybody just to wander down. There's actually 4 events going on in this building right now. Besides the Open Championships here on the first 64 lanes, Bowlers Journal on 69 to 78. But downstairs on the all-new 900 Global Showcase lanes will have the opportunity for team practice sessions for $100. You and 9 of your teammates can go out there and take an hour to kind of figure out your strategy on the team pattern. For an extra $100 or $20 a guy, you can spend that hour with Matt McNeil and get the insider tips on how to get it all together, get your game plan set. And later in the day, the 900 Global 2-game challenge, a nice 2-game event, a nice warm-up even, some daily prize money, year-long prize money as well. And if you want to have a little bit of fun, the 3-person Who's Got the Look Baker Bonanza. Go out there and bowl that Baker event. And, of course, everybody bowls 3 frames in that. It's a 5-game event. And whoever's got the look is going to bowl the 10th frame for you. So something fun. Certainly a lot of different formats and opportunities to win some prize money here at the National Bowling Stadium. So when you're in town, check it out. If you're a competitive bowler, Reno is the place to be in 2013.
Yeah, you got that right, Matty. There's no short of fun things to do, especially all located down here, right at the National Bowling Stadium, the NBS, which is has been my home every single day since I made it to town, and it's been great. I actually I talked to General Manager Bob Thomas. I was like, "Hey, Bob, you gonna need a guy in maybe a couple years?" And he's like, "It might be the right time." So who knows? I might come back here to live and work. Who knows what will happen? But
yeah, you were just telling me, Matt, as we went and grabbed a burger.
That was a good burger, wasn't it?
That was a good burger. But you were telling me you were really impressed with this town.
Yeah, it's actually a really great place to live. The weather is amazing, and the people are really nice here. I think a lot of people just get the first image of the walk from the tri-properties to the stadium, and they say, they say some not so great things about the town. The town's not so great, but the minute you get out of there, there's so many amazing mom and pop places to eat, places to shop, things to do, places to see, places to go. And so it's a really great town that offers a whole lot. So
I think, Matt, what you should do is you should register your own website, like the Matt McNeil Concierge for the Open Championships, and you could just recommend all these great little places to go.
That's a good idea.
Interesting that you bring that up. Now that I'm back right in time, mybowlingvacation.com. It is USBC's travel concierge type website. You can go there and fill all those needs: hotel, flights, you name it, rental cars, things to do. There's tours of San Francisco, different things to look at on there. And if you go to mybowlingvacation.com and you book 3 nights at one of our host hotels across the street there, you get yourself a free entry at the 900 Global 2-game challenge. So you're going to stay there anyway. Might as well take advantage of it, get the $40 entry, and go bowl, possibly turn that into a few $100 in the daily prize fund or year long. You just never know. Didn't mean to steal your thunder there, Matt, or your side job. But we kind of tried to think of everything, and we'll do our best to provide a complete service here for sure.
Well, not only that, but you've also got your Facebook group that people post in and talk about things that are happening and what's going on here at the event. And I know a lot of people that have taken advantage of your vacation concierge service. So that's a great point. And, as we look at these players, we're halfway through just about now. I've just been kind of watching from afar, but we've never really seen Chris Johnson get comfortable on the lanes. It hasn't seemed to be. He's been having some footing issues, maybe a little bit of timing issues. But his other half, as Stefanie Nation, who I'm talking about, she has probably had the best look on this pair through a game and a half out of anybody. I believe she missed twice the first game, and we just saw her go high on the last shot by missing about a board or 2 inside. But she's all by herself out playing around 7 or 8. And then you've also got, Eddie Bird, who the back half of the game pretty much struck out, playing around 22, 23-ish. And now here he is again this game deep, spare triple. And now Don Barrett's right over the top of him.
Well, Mike, I think
having the same thing.
Having Stefanie here, in this group, certainly to their advantage, because she is further right, and a little bit of surface out there, she's going to help break down that part of the lane, which is what most teams traditionally do in the practice part of the day and early in game 1. but she's been out there the whole time. So that can only work to their advantage as the night progresses, and you see some shinier balls starting to come out already. These guys will move left, and then they'll have some bank where Stefanie's been playing earlier in the night. So interesting to see that strategy too, and how that's going to develop.
Yeah, I think so. I think I want to say something about Byrne, Maddie, because I think there's a big misconception this year. When people coming out here just talking to teams down at the showcase lanes, people think you can literally burn a hole in this pattern, and it's quite difficult to do so, especially with the new Kegel ice oil. I think you're looking at creating a transitional area, as I like to call it, a place to use maybe as a little insurance, but definitely not a spot you want to throw at. So I want to make sure teams coming out here, things like that, please come down, sign up for a team lesson downstairs at the showcase lanes. I'll go a lot more in depth about my theories on that lane transition, but I definitely think Steph is helping these guys out and certainly not hurting them. So I'll agree with you there, Maddie.
They could probably use about 2 or 3 more Stephs on this pair to go with these rev rate guys, but
well, the world could use a couple more, 2 or 3 more Stephs. Then I probably wouldn't be in such rough shape.
Now here's Eddie Bird. He's extremely, he's completely different line than Stefanie, as we were talking about, and Dom's in there and Carter's in there, so there is a look inside. You see Mike Peters gets in there, and now they're getting the ball to recover as they've gone to these shinier balls. A little more skid flippy. During the first game, I was tired of seeing them leave 10 pins, flat 10s at the end of the pattern, but right now they're getting into wheelhouse. Matt, you being the expert, as in McNeil, I'm surrounded by Matts everywhere here. But Matt, do you think that you think they're gonna run out of room, or do you think this is gonna hold up as there's old Steph with another strike?
Well, it's very hard to say.
Well, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
All right,
now.
Thank you. Okay.
Are we going to be seeing big 4s and 4-6s and?
I don't want to say anything.
Oh,
no.
Wait, I already know about
yes.
the O'Keefe.
Yes, I'm going to keep myself free of trouble. So let's just say I hope they bowl very well and knock lots of pins down.
I think it is going to hold up, actually.
Okay, I like that.
You said it earlier with the Kegel ice. I think these guys are going to be fine. If there's any year you can do this, I think this is the year.
Well, I'll go out there and say it. I mean, they're talented enough that we've seen them all play, far enough left, off the left gutter, whatever it's going to take. Obviously, probably not going to get that far left, but they created some push in the middle, and they're now creating room to the right. I think, it can only work to their advantage and their strengths. These guys know how to wheel it. And, Mike, you're going to be able to talk about, a lot of the equipment we're seeing. A lot of storm balls, roto grip balls going down the lane right now. And, we saw Don Barrett go to that gold Pearl IQ. And again, with the shine and the friction, it's only going to create that angle that they need, later in the game.
Yeah, we just saw Chris Johnson use a disturbed, and he's been using that. I think that's about the first shot that I've seen, and I haven't studied every shot, but that's the first shot I just saw him deliver the ball comfortably, and he looked like he's starting to feel a little bit better out in the lanes, a little more comfortable, and that's good to see out of him. He's the anchor man out of that team. They open up with 1080, and that's not a bad start. I mean, I know there's a high number out there this year, but realistically, if you can shoot 3350 or so, 3400, you got to get on that plane and go home and feel good about your outing.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I think 3300 or like maybe 33 and a half. I think that's kind of the benchmark 3200 this year with just the scoring pace. So I mean, I think if you come out here shoot 3300, yeah, you definitely have a lot to be proud of, and nothing to hang your heads about.
Well, the number on top,
guys, it looks like 14 out of 15 strikes since we've been talking about this, and there's a Brooklyn for a break, but unbelievable. You were going to talk about the scores there?
Yeah, the number on top, as we know, 35-38, the highest score in tournament history. And to make the top 10, 34-20. We've seen a record number of 3400s, 12 so far this year. The previous record was 7 back here in 2011. And, you know, we talked about Riggles and his guys earlier and their feelings. This pattern for team event, very similar to what we saw in 2011 when they won the team event. So they have to feel pretty good coming in.
This is a huge shot for Eddie Bird right here. There's a lot of momentum, and he gets it. I mean, you saw Jeff Carter just start to show some emotion. This is when you can get the momentum going. This is when it starts flowing. This is when these guys start feeling good. They're in their favorite part of the lane. Get to see what old Steph does here. I really like this look from out. I really do.
She's throwing guys, I got the skinny from her. She's throwing a Rico Ebonite Challenge at 2000, Aberlon.
Very good.
So
good insight there.
Yeah, she's rolling it good, man, I tell you.
I'd love to know what Carter switched to. Is there any way you can...
I'm going to watch the rack. I'll find out here.
I think he was throwing IQ Chore the first game.
Looked like a very dull IQ Chore.
Oh, boy. Oh, good 9.
In the right zone, yeah. You
Good
know,
9.
when you're in the right zone, that's not a 2, 4, 8, 10 or anything like that. Just a 2-pin.
Oh, a drive-by on a 4-pin by Mike Peters, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Get out your bandana.
All right, guys, the game 1 recap before we get too far here in game number 2. Again, they were grinding it out, trying to develop the lane for the rest of the night. But Andy Staub, 168. Daryl Bean, 214. Eddie Bird, 233. Stefanie Nation, 234. Chris Johnson, 240 for 1089. And Team Turbo Tech, Adcock, 202. Raines, 210. Carter, 201. Peters, 211. And Dom Barrett, 226 for 1050. But Mike, you talked about seeing flat 10 after flat 10 and some 2-4, 8-10s there on the left lane especially. But now we're starting to see that lane open up a little bit. A lot of strikes on the board. Certainly spares coming into play here as well as we make our march toward 3,500. A lot of work to be done. But, Chris Johnson up on the left looking for 3 in a row.
Oh, what a break for Chris.
That's a big break.
That is a big break.
Give him a cup of coffee for the sweet roll there, as I always say on that one.
No doubt about it. He'll gladly take it.
Get that waitress down here with a cup of coffee for the sweet roll.
Have you guys talked about, this guy's PBA career, Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the Year in 2004?
You're the statistician, Maddie.
Yes, I was all of 18 years old. So I was still on the junior circuit.
Well, CJ, making things happen in Texas, certainly still a capable player. Did the tour thing, and now helping run a couple bowling centers there and in the Dallas area. Cowtown Bowling Palace, and playing the Super Bowl. Always running great events and leagues, and kind of having his hand in that side of things a little bit, giving opportunities for the bowlers to come out and challenge themselves, whether it be a house shot or some kind of pattern or shot making and spare shooting are important. But he certainly has a big vision, for the game, in the Dallas area, and still very capable, as I said, to throw strikes when needed and to win that prize money. But also doing his part for the game in other ways now.
You know what's so great about this event is we just got a chance to see these guys throw like 15 out of 16 or something like that. And then we see a missed single pin, which I think we all can identify with. Maybe not you, Mr. McNeil, but I'm sure.
No, I did a drive-by in team event, so I'm not free this year.
But now we're seeing big fours. We're seeing washout combos, which that was a great cover by Tom Adcock just a moment ago. But that's the great thing about this tournament is you have to bowl. I mean, you have to make shots. We can sit here and analyze this pattern to death.
Mm-hmm.
And I so often see, even on a tour, when you're watching a tour telecast, why'd that guy leave a 4-pin? And we hardly ever say it's because the guy made a bad shot. It's always, the oil had to move. Or, that ball's not the right ball anymore. You still got to make shots.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why this tournament continues to move on and on and on and continue to get bid from different cities. And hey, great job to USBC for these new venues coming up in the upcoming years. That South Point deal is amazing. This National Bowling Stadium with the work they've done downstairs. Bowling, as I said at the IB Open, bowling is not dead. Bowling is thriving, and we just got to keep at it here. Old Eddie Bird looking for 6 in a row,
Yeah,
playing
he's-
about 22 or 23.
He's looking to flap his wings on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's going to flap him.
Eddie's a Columbia staffer.
He's flying high.
He is.
The Birdman.
He is the Birdman.
The Birdman.
Yeah, how can the Birdman not have an eagle? You know, it just makes too much sense.
Well, if
I
he
mean-
keeps throwing shots like that, he'll be well on his way. Big start. Game number 1, 233. A lot of strikes here in game 2. Good shot there from Steph. She leaves the 4-pin. Now, as the night progresses, again, these guys are going to use the area that she's created to their advantage. But then interesting to see what she's going to do as things move along. I would imagine staying in the same area. This is her A game, playing a little bit straighter. So ball down and stay in that spot. Certainly her credentials, speak for themselves. But Matt, you'll have the opportunity to talk to her a little bit more, I'm sure, and be real close to the action and the moves here as the night progresses.
Yes, I am, and for those watching at home, you can't see it, but I'm just about as lane side gets here. I'm down in the booth. Flanagan and Maddie C are back up on the announcing table, but I'm down in the trenches.
You are. You're in the little booth. You're at Denny's ordering your moons over my hammy.
This is the one venue where this is possible. We're certainly up close and personal. Last year in Baton Rouge, we were up in the bleachers, kind of away from things. And, of course, the concourse here is going to change a lot in the next couple of years. $15 million in renovations underway. So interesting to see how all this pans out. There's another lucky break for Chris Johnson. A good shot, trips the 4-pin.
That's a Disturbed commercial right there. 2 shots in a row, tripping the 4-pin.
Yes, indeed, sir.
That's a Disturbed commercial.
Well, you are the marketing director.
I know.
So
I know it.
direct your marketing.
Well, we're seeing Frantics too. Now we're seeing all kinds of stuff. Hey, one of my favorite things about watching these webcasts, and I wanted to talk about this too, is all the great folks in the chat. And it's almost the same people every time. It's almost like Netflix. You've got these subscribers that just watch all the time. And I enjoy chatting when I can with all of you. So since I have this opportunity to be in here, thanks for supporting our game and being part of these webcasts, because everybody that's in there crosses over. They subscribe to Extra Frame, they watch the things that I do, they watch Bowl TV. And I'd be lying if I didn't say that I pick up things from your broadcasts here and Extra Frame, and I think we all do that together. And having these streaming services working together and promoting each other's events, I promoted this one tonight on our social media. We got to do this thing together.
Well, we're all here for the good of the game. Of course, we want to see it succeed. We want to see these events do well. And I think it was on the USBC Facebook page not too long ago about bowling is more than a sport. It's a passion. And the folks who tune into all these broadcasts, they want to see great bowling. They want to learn, what's going to work and how things are going. But mostly it's because they're passionate and it's entertaining and they care about the sport. And we appreciate that as well.
And how about Eddie Bird, 7 in a row now?
The Birdman is flapping.
He is.
He's got the bread out. The pigeons are starting to come in. They're hungry.
I'll tell you what, throw some bread up in the air, and I think Eddie might just fly right on up out of here.
He might. Is there a bird bath or a wading pool?
Maddie C's probably thinking, I need my broadcast partner back. This is getting
the altitude is getting to Mr. McNeil out here. All this elevation and mountains and.
Well, I've been here since 9 in the morning. That's what's getting to me.
So just a quick recap, everybody. Thanks for joining us. 500 viewers strong right now. We do appreciate this bonus coverage from the 2013 USBC Open Championships. You can find us on youtube.com/BowlTV, on Twitter and Facebook. But right now we're behind lanes 21 and 22 here at the National Bowling Stadium watching Team High Five Gear and Team Turbo Tech. High Five Gear 1089 in game 1. Turbo Tech 1050. And a lot of strikes on the board here in game 2. But as you said, Mike, the transition is starting to happen. It's going to happen a little bit later now because of the new ice oil that holds up longer. But here we are towards the end of game number 2. That's about the time. It used to be almost an automatic move around frame 9 of game 1 and early in game 2. But now for some of these guys, starting to happen, as you saw there, the Greek Church for Jeff Carter. Mike, you're the expert now on the Storm bowling balls, and that's what a lot of these guys are throwing. But what's the move here? You're also the only right-hander in the booth.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. Well, I think Jeff grabbed a handful of that personally, and I think his laydown point was a little bit further to the right, so it wasn't going through the front part of the lane as much left to right. So I think he might have grabbed a handful. That's a spare. I was going to see what ball it actually is in his hand. He's obviously using a ball that's got a little more angle so that he can carry the 10-pin. That's a good left to right shot by Mike, and of course a strike. So I just think Jeff was just a little straighter up the lane. He was a little too parallel. These guys have started opening it up, and they got to go left to right through the first half of the lane at least. And I've been watching Tom Barrett with this gold ball, and this gold ball is a funny ball to me. Riggles coins it as the best house shot ball possibly ever made, but I'm going to use this ball after I use a sink. I got a sink with the diff drilled out of it, so it doesn't do a whole lot, but it's perfect to play out the first game of team. But I'm going to go to this gold ball. And this gold ball is your benchmark, I'm going to throw this ball and not get into trouble ball, but it's not really angular down lane. It's a tour edition ball, so it's made for the tour guys. And I'm watching Dom with it. If he doesn't get good hand into the ball with that angle, we saw him 7-10, we saw him flat 10. He needs to grab his hand and just get a handful of it, because that ball is gonna really work down lane well for him if he grabs a handful. And it looks like he got it that time. So it's when you're a little weak to that ball, playing too deep, where you're not going to get the angle. Unlike the ball Carter's throwing, which, Maddie, we still haven't got to look to see what that is.
I'm sorry. I keep looking back at you guys.
It looks like a crossroad to me, but and Maddie C, I've been working for the company for a week and a half, and I love Storm, obviously. It's in my veins now. But Klempkin and Boomershine and Marion, Old Vic, those guys are going to be your tech guys. I just know I see them everywhere winning titles, and they smell really good too.
They do. They certainly do.
And don't forget, I am running that special now. Now I sound like a ShamWow salesman. You can go over to the Storm shop on stormbowling.com and put in the coupon code BOWLTV, and you can save 20%.
How about that? Scotty Rains making it rain with another strike. It looks like he's got that IQ Tour solid. And Jeff Carter, I'm going to get a peek when this ball comes back.
Yeah, if not, just give him a little shout. See if you can't find out what this ball is.
How about now? Just call him off the approach.
That's IQ Tour. I think that was just a ball change.
Yeah, because that one didn't have the bright orange writing. The other one, it looked like a crossroads. Trying to see when
you think he'll talk to you, Matt?
I don't want to bug him.
I think he will.
No, that's a T-Road solid.
It is a T-Road solid.
Yeah, it's a T-Road solid.
I really want to know if that's the ball that he was throwing, if he just switched to it.
No, that was the one he threw the Greek Church Witch.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember that really bright orange writing. Mike Peters for a triple. Oh, a little dance, but he didn't get it down. I like those dance moves up there. Gotta be honest. I like those dance moves.
I want to tell you about this team real quick, okay? These guys, Team Turbo Tech, they've bowled together for a long time. They bowled the Mary Tubner Challenge that we streamed last year. They are short one guy, and that is Jason Queen usually bowls with these guys, and Dom Barrett is subbing in. That's a pretty good sub. But these guys have a lot of chemistry. Mike Peters, I don't know if you guys mentioned this or not, but he's been nursing an injury. He actually had to withdraw out of the Storm Inside Bowling Open tournament to gear up and get ready for this one because of an injury. I don't know if it was a leg injury or a wrist injury. I can't remember, but he's just getting over an injury. And to see him come out and throwing the ball pretty well tonight, it's a good sign. As Eddie Bird, 8 in a row.
How about that Eddie Bird? Some questions about what he's throwing. And he's a Columbia staffer. I believe a Val.
It looks like a Val.
Was the ball of suggestion earlier. Stefanie going to step back up, looking for a double here. A lot of strikes on the board, a couple of holes.
Pretty good. Ooh.
Oh,
how about that?
Steph throwing pins.
She can throw pins with the best of them. Don't let her beautiful physique fool you. She can do it all.
Steph, of course, a longtime Team USA member, 3 World Championships.
There's Dom with another handful, and there's a strike. See?
Good result.
You guys are really strap on the ball. Get you one of those gold IQs. Trust me, you will not be sorry. Because there's nothing more frustrating than strapping on it or having low ball speed and having to change your game around to do something that you can't do very well. Go to your B game. That ball allows you to bowl your A game.
There's Chris Johnson's A game throwing strikes.
Yeah, this guy, I'm really impressed with what he's been able to do since the first game. If you go back and watch this, of course, it'll be archived on the YouTube channel, Bowl TV. He was uncomfortable the first game, but now he's showing why he's in the 5-hole.
And poor Mr. Staub, he's just been struggling from frame 1 here, and looks like potentially another open frame in the 10th.
Dom, you battling a cold? Matt's going to talk to you for a minute. Dom Barrett.
Okay, so Dom, when did you get over here to the States?
I went to see everyone at Storm. You know, they're really good to me, so they're good people, and I'd like to see them whenever I can. So it was a really good opportunity to go and see them for a day. And so I flew in to Reno this morning. I don't really know if I'm jet lagged or not. I don't know what's going on, to be honest. It's going to be a long couple of days, but that's okay.
Well, I know everybody back home really digs that accent. So, and you're looking sharp out there. How are you liking that gold ball?
Yeah, it's good. I've had a few bad shots. I mean, I just had 5 weeks off and made the most of the break after the TOC, and tried to come back and practice a bit before this event. But when you ask any of the elite bowlers, when you have that amount of time off, doesn't matter how much you practice, the first few shots of few games that you go and put under your belt when you play competition is completely different. And I've definitely felt a little bit rusty, but you know, the last couple of shots felt pretty good, and gobble's good. The left lane, I don't know if you can quite see it, the left lane rack's pretty tight. The 3 pins a little bit left, maybe a little bit back as well, so it's kind of hard to get the 10 pin out for me. And the opposite on the right lane. The right lane's a little open, so you try not to get a fast 10 on that lane. But no, ball reaction's pretty good. I think the pair we practiced this morning downstairs, and this pair's hooking a little bit more in the middle, and that's forcing us further left. But they're not too bad. I mean, obviously you can see from the other team there's plenty of strikes going around, so they're pretty scoreable, so we just have to try and score.
Well, it sounds good, and wish you best luck the rest of the way here. And do you guys say cheers? Is that what you say?
Cheers, yeah,
cheers. All right, well, all right, cheers, my man. All right, that was Dom Barrett taking a couple minutes out of his team event to chat with us here.
Yeah, he was up here blowing his nose, and he threw the Kleenexes at the tripod, adjusted the camera for a minute. But I said, you got a cold? And he said, no, just this high altitude gives me fits with my nose for a couple days. So Dom Barrett, alive and well, and nice interview there, Mr. McNeil.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Flanagan.
And Is this a job interview? What's happening here? Are we looking at the next voice of Inside Bowling?
Well, Matt's already called a 300 game by Derek Sapp about 6 months ago. That's archived on the Inside Bowling YouTube channel.
That was good. I remember that.
He went Brooklyn on the last ball.
Yeah.
And Matt did his best ABC telecast impersonation. Scoreboard tells the story. Derek Sapp, all this practice. What was it?
A lifetime of practice and experience will be measured for Derek Sapp on this next ball. And that was actually, Nelson Burton said that in 1989 when Pete Weber stepped up on the approach. Second frame of the 10th frame to win his Triple Crown at Ducat's Imperial Lanes against Dave Ferraro. And that was the line that Bo used, and I thought that was just such a fantabulous line that I had to take it and make use of it again.
So the scores are coming in, Matt. We had an open by Andy Staub, 206 for him. Daryl Bean, a very respectable 232. We just saw Eddie Bird get the ball a little to the right too quick. Leaves the pesky 3-6-10, covers it. So he's gonna have a great game here. He's gonna be in the 260s. Yeah. And Adcock 222, strong as ever. 217 for Scotty Rains. Nice fill ball there, and now we see Jeff Carter, after going Greek Church over on that lane the last time, make a beautiful shot, get an unfortunate break of leaving the 710.
I think we've seen a couple 710s on that lane. You know, and Dom talked about the...
Good shot, Eddie. Much better. That's more in your zone, buddy.
Dom talked about that rack on 22 being a little more open, so... That's a nice game for the Birdman of the National Bowling Stadium.
Guys, we know there's a lot of pins out there in the 10th frame, and so far these guys not taking advantage of what's out there. And only one double so far in the 10th. But Matt, let's talk to Eddie and see what happened there in the 10th frame.
All right, so I'm here with the Birdman of the National Bowling Stadium, Eddie Bird. And Eddie, what happened on that 7 count there? You were rolling along pretty nice, flapping those wings.
Got a little antsy, just grabbed on one, and it definitely hooked a lot more than I anticipated, but I picked a spare, so that's good.
Well, what ball are you using out there, Eddie?
I'm throwing a vow. 10 down vow at 3,000 is what I'm throwing.
Well, it's looking pretty nice, and we hope to see you flapping those wings next game. I want to see you soar right on above the stands here.
That's the plan.
All right, thanks, guys. Eddie Bird, lane side.
233, 267, 100 over here after 2 games.
You know what that tells me? He's got a possibility at 800.
He does.
That's right.
He can fly all the way there.
That's a good shot right there.
That's
recovers. Oh, yeah.
Little slash and dash. Get out the shake and bake. Now, in the northern Midwest, we fish for walleye, and you throw the shake and bake on those walleye fillets, and it's very, very good.
Do you use a Ziploc bag for that?
Yes, sir, you do.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, guys, it looks like our drinks have arrived. And
no, you're okay.
These guys are certainly helping themselves to all the amenities here at the National Bowling Stadium. We do have laneside beverage service if you elect to do so. And I'm looking over the table here, and we got a fine variety of beverages.
We just saw a ball change from Steph on the fill. I'd like to know what that was, Matt.
I'll check it out there, Mr. Flanagan.
One thing that there is in common, Mr. Cantanzaro, is the tripod's getting bumped. Very familiar with that. It's one of the most beautiful things about live streaming, as we just saw.
Well, hopefully we got that straightened out. But yeah, in this setting, we are certainly a fire hazard. The National Bowling Stadium, a one-of-a-kind venue. And again, we're up close and personal here with the players. That is all going to change during the renovation process. And I believe the bleachers behind us will be no more. Interested to see how all of that comes
Chris
about.
Johnson just moved in even more. I mean, I don't know if he intentionally did it, but that ball was much further left. And I know he tripped a couple of 4 pins, but to see that sanded disturb, that's pretty impressive. A little symmetrical, piece with some fur on it. And now he's just back halfing this thing. You know, 7 in a row, Jeff Goodger from the PBA coined the term the ham turkey dinner. It's the turkey and the ham bone combined. And that's what we just saw out of Chris Johnson. Let's see what he's got here. That was rolled nicely. He's going to recover.
There's a little shake and bake again.
That was. Look at him. He knows it too.
He's got a wry smile on his face.
That's
very wry.
That's the chin grab.
Yes.
Guys, before CJ finishes up, let's talk about this 10th frame here for Team TurboTech. Things did not go well. Just 2 strikes on the board, a couple of opens, and they're in a huge hole now. 1050 game 1, 990 here in game 2. 200 pins now behind their companion team with 1 shot left even. How do you recover from that?
Well, I would say that, I think all the guys who struggled the most, Carter, Peters, and Dom, I think they just have to make better shots. I think they're in a decent part of the lane. If they throw a good shot, it strikes. If they don't throw a good shot, it does not strike. So I think you just need to, kind of pick yourself up here, dust yourself off, and throw some good shots.
How about 12-17?
That's a lot.
Matty.
That's a lot.
So these guys are 300 over. And what's the number they got to get to?
35-38 is the number on top.
So
1239 would get them there.
12-39. And, Andy didn't bowl a good back half of the game. But Daryl's got a good look. Eddie's got a great look. Steph made a ball change and hit the pocket. And Chris Johnson, we just saw move even deeper, and he's got a good look. So I think the old 12-20.
That's doable.
I mean, it's not quite Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber. You're telling me there's a chance. I mean, there's a realistic chance of this. So don't go anywhere. And I know it's late on the East Coast, but go to the fridge, make yourself a beverage, grab a drumstick out of the freezer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
get those too, Matt?
That's right, son.
The old drumstick. You get the Neapolitan pack.
I do like the Neapolitan pack.
Yeah.
The chocolate's almost a little rich for me, though.
Yeah, I hear you.
I like the vanilla. That's my favorite.
There's a lot of chocolate caked over the top of it.
There is.
And the cone's so sugary.
Yeah. You got to be careful, though, to not get all the nuts, all the little nuts they put on there in the cracks in your couch.
Oh, absolutely.
Because those will fester and draw ants. I'm not speaking from experience. I keep a very clean and tidy house to any future person or female that might come into it. But I will say this, you got to be careful when you're eating those drumsticks.
You do.
I always like to hold the wrapper kind of underneath it while I eat the nutty part, and then after that you're home free.
You guys are being a little bit unfair. We're still an hour and a half away from being cleaned up and back in the office here. This is the Emil Williams Jr. School of Broadcasting, where he'll either sit here and talk about food the entire time, or in this case where there's 2 other folks visiting in the booth, he'd be standing right next to us having some garlic fries or a cheeseburger or something. Completely unfair. But one time he did talk about some Popeye's chicken, and lo and behold, by the time we were done, it was sitting on his desk in his office. So perhaps a box of drumsticks on the way now. I don't know, some foreshadowing.
Well, I miss Emil. He did a great job out here for you guys, and I do miss him. But, this team here that we're watching, getting back to action, we could see something special right here. I'm so proud to see Eddie Bird get picked up by these guys and really bowl well here. Steph, not a good shot there, but I really believe these guys are going to have at least 1,100 this game.
Well, big numbers needed, 12:33 if they're going to find their way into the lead here. Gail Myers Jr. having a good time here in Reno so far. They'll be on the lanes tomorrow night, the lifetime average leader, trying to make it 2 team event wins in a row here at the National Bowling Stadium. And Steph with the open there. So again, 12:33 is a big number. And at this point, you want to get every pin you can either way. Team all events, still a nice possibility with 6 more games tomorrow.
Mr. McNeil, could you see what Steph's thinking about with this other ball?
Yeah, I'll check on that.
See what you can.
I'll put the feelers out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That one did not look familiar from here. Steph on contract with Ebonite International and is able to throw all companies. Ebonite Track, Columbia Hammer. So interesting to see what's in her bag.
All right, guys. In the fill ball, she tried the exceed,
That's what I saw.
and that wasn't jiving.
Well, she left a 10 pin in the pocket.
Yeah, and then so she went back to the challenge
And went right through the face.
and went through the guts. Guys, I'm joined here by the lifetime average leader, Gail Myers. Gail, now you've been watching the action. What do you think about what's going on here?
What do I think? The beer's cold.
Well, now you're the lifetime average leader, so you're kind of the authority on lane play here at the Open Championships. What do you think?
Based on watching a lot of people this evening, it looks like it's still about shot making. However, you got to make sure that everybody is in the right spots, and everybody's got to be making pretty good shots. And then after that, it's about the carry gods. That's what I think.
Well, very enlightening as always, and we really appreciate your time here in the booth, Gail. It's an honor to be just in the same room.
I couldn't agree more, man.
As the lifetime average leader at the United States.
Hold on, guys. If you can make his head any bigger, it's not going to fit on his tiny little body. So Gail, of course, small in stature, but certainly the firepower of that 11thframe.com team. So quietly getting it done here. Lifetime average leader for 20 years. We'll see them tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's the second leg of this doubleheader, back-to-back days here.
And as we saw, Chris Johnson, while I was doing that interview with Gail Myers, who is the lifetime average leader, we did see an open from Chris. How about that? Nice 4-9 pick 'em up by Tom Adcock.
Tom Adcock was a fixture in the World Team Challenges.
Yes.
Also a fixture at the Megabuck events. And Tom Adcock, this is not his first rodeo.
No, sir.
He is a veteran. He is well carried. He's a Brunswick man right now, as you see a mixture of all products being used with success here tonight.
How about the Birdman? Back on it with a double. Yeah, Tommy Adcock, I remember I first met him when I first started bowling the Meg Bucks, and I was just like, wow, that guy can play. And he took a lot of my money for a couple years.
Matt, do you know, you don't know actually, Mr. McNeil, you just don't know. You don't know what it's like to be a tall in stature human being.
And try to bowl.
And trying to stick every shot. And Tom Adcock is one of those guys that has been able to do that. I mean, you see Walter Ray, falling out of shots, after he lets go of it. But this Adcock, he just stays down. I mean, it's a joy to watch. And now Steph stuck with that ball, didn't she?
Mm-hmm. And she tried going to the whip a little bit on that. It looked like she tried just increasing the speed. But I think she's at a point now where the fronts have really started to show themselves, and I think she's fighting too much the front to the middle part of the lane, and she just can't keep the ball under control.
She probably is going to have to make like
a big move,
like a 4 and 3 left.
I think
5 and 3 left.
I'm thinking she's got to take a big step left and get almost on top of or just near everybody else. I think she really needs to go to something that's going to kind of float down the lane and then roll up.
Well, her team needs her now more than ever. As once she gets in the right spot, she'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
The word in the chat room that she's now strictly Ebonite, so those balls easier to recognize for me for sure. She looks like she's going back to that exceed. The ball that I saw earlier was her spare ball, actually, which made me think perhaps it was something from track. But she put the exceed back on the rack.
I like that move. I don't care if she left a flat 10 on a fill. I'm good with that ball. I'm good with that change. I would take 9 spare the rest of the way out in the 4 position, especially after back-to-back opens.
And we saw Chris getting deeper and deeper, still staying with that ball, and he went high too. So we might have to see a ball change from him as well.
After
here.
shooting 260 the last game, it's tough to want to switch balls, but you know, it's getting later in the night too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fatigue begins to set in. You're looking at your numbers up there. You know, you're 300 over after 2.
And a
I'm
nice.
really impressed with Andy Staub too and Daryl Bean. I don't know much about these two guys, but obviously they're bowling well. They both bowled a great second game.
I don't know much about them. I do know I wouldn't want to meet them in a dark alley.
And I know they both have first names and last names.
That is very true. So let's see. Now, Mr. Bean here, we'll call him Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean, front 2, he's working. He's trying to get that triple. And really all the load of the team really focused on Mr. Bean and the Birdman.
Bada boom.
That's a gem.
That was nice.
Well, Daryl Bean, 214, 232. Now a 3-bagger to start game number 3.
That was a real gem there, Mike.
That it was, Matthew. That it was. I'll tell you, I get the chills still walking into this building. I used to come here for the very first Junior Olympic Gold Tournament.
Back in 1998?
I believe that was probably pretty accurate, Mr.
Yes,
McNeil.
yes.
Hold. Oh, the Birdman.
The Birdman, he's got the beak moving up and down. He's got a dish full of seed. He's happy.
Wait a minute. He just pulled out his computer and he's writing an email to Chartrand from Kegel. Says, "Thank you for the ice. Love, the Birdman." You know, it feels so good to know all these folks in the bowling industry now. You know, the last couple of years have really just knocked on every door possible. And when I got this position with Storm, to see the text messages come in, you know, we talk about Mr. Chartrand from Kegel. He was one of the first to send me a message, and so much appreciation for all the support that I've gotten. I can't thank people enough as we see Steph go to that ball again and leave the 10 pin, which she's probably frustrated about because that's exactly what she thought it would do. But she knows it gives her the best look right now. So Team USA experience. Be interesting to see what she does the next 7 frames.
Yeah, it's just going to come down to getting the correct ball motion off the end of the pattern to get the 10 out. And I think she might just keep the feet here. Oh, and we got the National Bowling Stadium's finest. They're going to come shoo out the lookers and the gawkers and the watchers here.
Matt, I saw you, Mr. Cantanzaro here, I saw him looking at the X Bowling app, which, hey, I haven't talked about this yet, but I've been watching that thing religiously while watching live broadcasts. Could you tell us about that a little bit?
Certainly, I was just checking out xbowling.com, and you can find that on the Open Championships page here on bowl.com. But the web version of that has come in very handy here while we're broadcasting. Right now we're behind lane 21 and 22, and I was checking on a fellow left-hander down in the 40s, Eric Fritton. Some people in the chat room were curious about how he's performing on the lanes tonight, so I was able to look up his first 2 games, and Eric with 227, 243. So pretty solid start for him, and certainly curious to see how he's playing the lanes as a left-hander. But again, as you said, watching that, you know, either on your phone with the free app that you can find in the App Store for your iPhone or Android device, or on the web at xbowling.com. A great chance to keep in touch with what's happening frame by frame. You can even see what pins were left. You can get all kinds of crazy stats and leaderboards provided by X Bowling, and of course the chance to win $50,000 with the 90 frame X game. So very cool feature at the USBC Open and Women's Championships this year. So no matter where you are, you can check in on the scores. Even if we're not live streaming, you can see frame by frame what's going on. And again, coming in very handy here. Also some folks curious about our Minnesota team that started the night with 11:32. They shot 993 earlier. If you want to check that out, go to xbowling.com. They're on lane 14 here at the National Bowling Stadium. So
And
a
then
lot of great opportunities.
there's some guys from Utah here, Chuck Grote and Clay Reese, Cameron Foster. They're bowling on the pair just to the left of Fritton's group down there. Fritton bowling with Bill Montz and his wife Roxanne, and they got quite a little crew down there. Shanna Levinsky. You can see all those scores on the X Bowling app, and the guys from Utah also, Storm guys as well, down there bowling just to the left of them. And we saw Dom Barrett guys make a ball change to the Freakin' Frantic.
Oh yes, the Freakin' Frantic
on 22 the last time, and he got a strike, so he's put the gold ball away.
Scott Rains led off behind Tom Adcock, who had another open. Scott Rains now has the front four. Carter up, triple working. Peters triple working.
You can
Barrett.
see the scoreboard here on this pair of lanes.
Now
everybody's striking.
Everybody's striking.
What's so interesting that we were talking about earlier is how these guys may have started a little too deep, and would they run out of room? But here it is, game 3 in the wheelhouse, and Team TurboTech is staring at a lot of strikes, and Adcock is really the only guy on the team that's got his angles tight right now.
Peters opening up. He's trying to dance down that 10-pin. Looks like he's switched to a wrecker.
Yeah, he's thrown at the last couple shots now.
I like that little hip move he does up there.
He needs to be careful because he is nursing an injury.
He might throw out his hip.
Guys, you gotta leave it out on the field. You know, just leave it out there. And,
well, I get animated out there myself, but I'm a little younger and more able-bodied.
Mr. McNeil, this is your favorite bowler bowling right now on 22.
The bird. Oh, that's a beauty. Is that a beauty?
You know, and Eddie was a late pickup. This was like a trade at the trade deadline.
I tell you what, I don't know what is smoother, the Birdman or one of those $500 Italian shirts. I think the Birdman has the Italian shirt.
I totally thought you were going with butter. Now, does Steph have the, what was it, started with an E?
Exceed.
Does she have the, yeah, she's got, I think this one carries.
Hard to carry through the face.
Yes, it is.
And I think, like I said, I think she's at that point where she needs to make that substantial move left. And I'd say she'd have to get into at least a laydown point around 19, 20, 21. And then try to keep the angles tight.
That ball right there just quit at the perfect time. That was Amleto Monticelli-esque.
The rollout. You want to talk about a guy who perfected the rollout. I mean, in the urethane days, you could hear the ball thumping, and it would still hit like a runaway train.
Yeah, which is a great song by Soul Asylum too, Matt.
That was a great that was a good song back in the 90s. I think it was like 93, 92. Yeah. That was the same time Amleto was throwing the rollouts that were hitting like runaway trains. Maybe Soul Asylum got the inspiration for the song from Amleto. Yeah.
You know, I know that they have toured in Venezuela. Don Griffin stopping by, part of the Storm Nation, Storm staffer. I gotta get used to this.
You guys are getting pretty big over there.
Tell you what, we just signed
Storm Nations is getting bigger than Horton Nation.
That's true. We signed Mike Fagan.
That's big.
And we've got a couple other tricky little things coming up our sleeves too. I can't talk about right now, but yeah, the nation is expanding.
And you can hear Chris Johnson talking a little slang down in the bowlers area about his double that he just threw, so he's starting to feel it again.
Chris Johnson too, very respectable here is wearing the Tony Reyes patch.
I like it. I like it.
Now let's see if Adcock starts to open up the lane. It looks like he is.
He's trying.
Yeah, he's got to get deeper.
Yeah.
The people that are struggling on this pair right now is Tom and Steph, and they've got the tightest angles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all because of the way they broke this pattern down tonight.
Well,
Ooh.
the goal always, play them to the outside, break them down, and then move left, and they're open. So the guys who can wheel it are certainly doing that. A lot of strikes up on the board, and if we can get everybody on board here in Game 3, we're going to see some pretty solid finishes here.
Tournament manager Dwayne Hagen just stopped down to take a peek, and looks like he's going to retire for the evening, but he even came down to check out the fine action here. And there's Daryl Bean, Mr. Bean, back on top, and that'll bring up the Birdman of the National Bowling Stadium. He's looking to peck his way to 5 in a row here.
Guys, this bonus coverage brought to you by us, Matt Cannizzaro, Matt McNeil, and Mike Flanagan in the booth right now. This was not on the live stream schedule, but we saw two very talented teams and wanted to bring this to you live from the 2013 USBC Open Championships. To check out the rest of the schedule, visit bowl.com. Down on the right side of your screen is what's coming up here, especially from Reno, because we're here all the way till July. The Open Championships kicked off March 1st, and we'll conclude things on July 7th. And for the first time in history, the Women's Championships in the same host city at the same time. And the WC taking place across town at the Reno Sparks Convention Center. That event will run until July 1st. But upcoming broadcast tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, Jeff Briggles and Open Championships lifetime average leader Gail Myers Jr. will lead their teams onto the tournament lanes here at the NBS. And then on the 21st, May 21st, defending Diamond All Events champion Joey Biondo, live from the Reno Sparks Convention Center. So some women's action as well, trying to mix it up and make our way back and forth across town. So be sure to check that out. Subscribe to our YouTube page, youtube.com/BowlTV, to get all the updates and get in touch with all the latest and greatest bowling videos and action. Also find us on Facebook and Twitter. We do appreciate everybody joining us and staying up with us on this late night.
There's Jeff Carter with the front 5, making that tee road solid. It might be an oldie, but it's rolling like a goodie right now.
Yeah,
Jeff
it's kind of
Carter.
like Time Life Classics. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You start out with little REO Speedwagon, and they talk about how you were sitting in the back seat of your car. You remember all that?
Mm-hmm.
That was a great infomercial, and that's what Jeff Carter's doing right now. Is good old Steph there finds a way to get 10 out of 10. That's 100% on the last shot.
Mm-hmm. And she actually I think she just made a hand position change. She tried to get around the ball a little more, get it down the lane a little harder, or a little easier, and then have it flip off the pattern just a touch harder to get that 10-pin corner out. So.
Hey, is Lucas Wiseman in the chat tonight?
I have not seen Lucas.
I haven't seen him either. I owe that guy a big thank you, though. He's been sharing a lot of the stuff we were doing with the IB Open, and that's just so appreciative. From our camp, the IB camp, we appreciate those shares and that help.
I think Chris Johnson needs to go put a bunch of money in a slot machine right now, because he's got everything working for him. I tell you.
He does.
That shot looked like it was going to get about 6, and it got 10. So, and Chris kind of doing like a Rob Van Dam motion for you folks familiar with the professional wrestling. But he's having a good time.
Now
Big triple.
Here's Tom Barrett from the PBA Tour, international player. And the last shot, he was supposed to leave a 9 and had something come take it out. And now we're seeing that ball dive over the... What is that, when you throw the 5 straight back over the 9? Is that what that is?
Yeah. I don't throw the 5-pin around all that much, so... I can't comment on that one.
Well, when you do when it's the last to fall consistently. You know, on our
I call that bouncing the nickel.
Yeah, on our IV opener that I do, the generic one I do, I got a shot of you, Matt, where you almost leave a 5, 7, 10, but they all fall out at Cherry Lanes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, on that lawn flat pattern that we bowled on. Yeah,
and you won.
Yeah, I had a couple scares. I think I plaqued a couple 7-9s that tournament.
Yeah.
But I was giving it the old high hard one. All right, let's see if Scott Rains can get back on track. Maybe do a little rain dance here and start making the strikes fall from the sky again. I'm still getting chiropractic bills from Scott for that doubles tournament that we bowled and where he carried me all day. So hopefully he wins a little money here and quits billing me. That'd be nice.
Mr. C, is the halfway point of the tournament came and gone yet?
I believe we have just passed it. I have such a good time here. Usually I don't count it down. Usually I'm counting the days till the next one, to be honest with you. But again, we kicked off March 1st. We're done July 7th. 125 days of competition. So I believe we're somewhere in the 60s at this point. But still a lot of great players to come through, and certainly don't want it to end. Although some of the folks watching right now would love if it was over. Vernon Peterson, John Gaines, John Zerbinski as well. All the guys on top of the leaderboards right now. But
Vernon Peterson, star of Boogie Nights.
Yes, Turnin' Vernon Peterson.
I like that.
I like that mustache of his.
It is nice.
That's a nice stash.
If he wins, if they win the team event, there should be a way to take it off all in one pull and frame it.
The mustache?
This is the mustache that won the Eagle.
And set the record.
And set the record, yeah.
That might go in the Bowling Hall of Fame. They might want that one.
perhaps everybody will be wearing one next year when they come to defend their title, should they hold on to win.
Yeah. Everybody has to wear a Vernon mustache?
That's a good
the playoff beard there in San Francisco, right down the road.
Yeah. I like that conversational piece because maybe the folks in the chat would want to get involved on this one. What are some of the best mustaches in the history of bowling? I mean, you got to start with Parker Bone, right?
That was a dirty stash. That stash was so dirty. Oof.
The statuation.
Yes. Remember Rob Lawrence had a dirty stash for a while with his mullet back in the day. Birdman back on track.
The Birdman just set sail.
I love this guy.
He's got one of those little sailboats that you put in the tub. And he just turned on the he pulled the drain and the boat's just sailing.
The Birdman's definitely feeling the flow.
And there are strikes aplenty here this evening as Mr. Cantanzaro, who is on top of everything, has noticed a string of strikes. What do you see?
It's like front 8 for Joel Martyr over on lane 30. 31. There you go. So check it out on xbowling.com. Lane 31. We'll see if we'll have our first 300 of the day. Haven't had one since yesterday morning. So 18 on the year. A lot of strikes being thrown in the team event. Quite a few right in front of us.
And Steph with an unfortunate 10-pin. Rattled it a little bit, but just couldn't get it to go.
And this isn't to take anything away from the way she's bowled. She's probably been more consistent with her targeting than any of the people on her pair. But unfortunately, because of her ball path and not a lot of help where she's at, you know, this part of the game, not wanting to make a big move and risk it, you know, she's going to be staring at, you know, 190, 170 to 190 range probably if she paces at home, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate because she's bowled a lot better than that.
Yeah, she certainly has. And like we were going back saying, I think the only way to really overcome kind of what the spottiness that she's seeing is, I think you just got to commit to it, believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, and as Nelson would say, make that Sunday ball. And that's where you got to take that big step left and make that Sunday ball, even though it's Thursday night here at the National Bowling Stadium.
Well, guys, she played a key role in what we're seeing right now. Of course, Steph played to the right with a little bit of surface for much of the night and helped open it up for the rest of these guys, and now they're all starting to get left and have a whole lot of angle down lane. And Chris Johnson trying to get left with that disturb that he's been throwing all night, but it just kind of laid off on the back there. So he made the move left, but it's time to go to something I think a little bit shinier perhaps that's gonna make that move on the friction down lane, because that ball just labored and left a flat dime. So we'll see what his move is coming up in frame number 7, but certainly they need to finish strong here, and he's getting into that range where that ball change is certainly necessary. And Steph, while she was crucial to the whole operation, we said struggling here in game number 3, so if she can get back on track, certainly a huge number for these guys.
And there's Daryl Bean. Mr. Bean shows up with a strike to follow a pair of opens. Brings up the Birdman at the National Bowling Stadium.
Folks, that's the front 9 down lane 31. If you're missing it, check it out, xbowling.com. Matt McNeil's going to take a walk, it looks like. How about that technology? And if you keep looking down, there's strings of strikes all the way across this house. So, and that's part of the reason. Big numbers on top. 35-38 leading the team event. 34-20 to make the top 10. Record number of 3,400s. Will we see one here tonight on lanes 21-22 here at the NBS? Eddie Bird says, yes, sir. We're going to see a 3,400 here tonight.
That he does.
And guys, I've positioned myself right at the center desk here. I'm up on the platform, and I have a bird's eye view of Mr. Joel Maderer. Sorry, Joel, if I butchered your name. But we'll see what happens here in the 10th. I'll keep you guys apprised.
All right, McNeil perched at center desk.
Yeah, Matt, you rival Carolyn Doran Ballard doing sideline reporting. I found a way to get her to do sideline reporting a couple weeks ago, and it was phenomenal. But I'd have to put you right there with old CDB.
Well, thank you very much. That's I'm definitely not as easy on the eyes as CDB might be, but I like her New York accent. You just can't replace that. So, but I'm going to do my best here for y'all.
Well, guys, let's not forget the string of strikes in front of us. Jeff Carter shot 173 in game number 2, but he's got the front 6 here. So he's making the right moves, the right ball choices, and we'll see if he can keep up with our friend Joel down on lane 31.
And guys, I got an update here from the fine gentleman at the center desk. Joel had a 173 the first game and followed it up with a 160 game. So he's turning that frown upside down right now with the front 9.
You are too much sometimes. Back down here to give you an update, Mr. McNeil. Jeff Carter up on the approach, looking for the ham turkey dinner. And comes up short, leaves the 7. And old Steph got that ball to hit the last time. So some momentum now starting to occur here for Team High Five Gear, as Chris Johnson can make it the quote-unquote beer frame here in the 7th frame with stars all the way down.
Well, that's actually that in the 7th frame. It might be a pizza.
Well, go ahead and grab it, because that's a strike for everybody in the 7th for Team High Five Gear.
Well, Chris sticking with that ball still, and we'll see as he gets further left what that ball's going to do down the lane. On the right lane, left a 10-pin, pretty flat. So we'll see if he makes a move in the next frame. But for now, that's 5 in a row.
I've looked at my phone for the first time in about 35 minutes, and Andy Klein, who works with Eddie Bird back home in St. Louis, updated me 40 minutes ago or so that Eddie Bird is using a Val at 3,000 pinned down, which Mr. McNeil got that direct from Eddie. But thank you, Andy, for giving me the info, and I just failed to look at the phone.
Better late than never, as I always say.
And Jeremy Hunt checking in from the Ebonite camp, letting us know that Steph Nation was using the Exceed earlier, so got to give some props there.
Certainly appreciate everybody tuning in tonight, and Mike, you promoting this event. And we did our best on Facebook and Twitter, and here we are, 500 strong.
And guys, I have another update here. Once again, the great staff at Center Desk Services here, not failing on their duties tonight. Dwayne Stewart, lane 46, has the front 7. He's in the red, so he is getting ahead this game. He had a 2:05 the first game, followed it up with a 2:33. So I'll be keeping an eye on him and bringing you updates as they develop.
And of course, if you'd like to follow along at home, xbowling.com. Or on your phone, free app, check it out. And we certainly don't want to forget the love for the ladies. The USBC Women's Championships across town. Also, you can follow those scores on X Bowling and find out the details, news, notes, scores, you name it, all on bowl.com.
Before we get too carried away here tonight, I do want to thank you for the 3rd year in a row for letting me sit in and be part of this broadcast. Matt, last year, I believe we had a headset issue, and I wasn't really happy with the way I sounded, but every year I come here, it seems like the equipment is even better and better, and the triple shot feature this year with the scoreboard and the down lane and the pair cam is a huge upgrade. Looks very nice.
We appreciate that, and that's all because of the folks at home who watch the broadcast, and the numbers certainly dictate all these upgrades, and we do appreciate it. And you're right, every year everything gets a little bit better. The top of the line here, and interested to see what's down the line for us. Of course, here we are down behind lanes 21 and 22, and Matt McNeil over at center desk by 29 and 30. So we're expanding our coverage now. It's pretty fantastic.
Well, and I remember being in that headset last year. It had the evil delay, so you'd talk and then you'd kind of hear yourself echo about 2 seconds later. So it sounded like you had been at the bar for a little too long and then decided to come commentate.
Well, the bad part is last year I actually had a couple of adult beverages before coming on the broadcast, and Emil had even asked me if I was okay to come on. and then I come on and I sound aloof.
Well, I remember one of my favorite one was listening to Mark London on the headset, and he had a couple of the good Mike Durbin groans, or moans as he called them, after the double P-knuckle or something.
Well, that was fun for one year, but we thought we'd
yeah,
I'm glad
you did, Matt. I'm glad you did. You know what's amazing too is when you look at this event and how it's covered online. I don't think people give you enough credit either, Mr. Cantanzaro, with all the work and time you put in updating people on Facebook and actually paying attention to what everybody says and being the voice of the tournament to the home office. You read all that stuff, and once in a while there's a comment that's not necessary from folks, but you can't focus on that. You have to focus on what most of the people say, and I know that I know a lot of things that have come up online that I've seen that the very next year you've implemented it. So it's just a testament to you wanting to work with what the people want. You know, you could say, too bad, we're going to keep doing it this way, but I think because you take all that into consideration and you allow people to come sit in the booth and do different things, you know, that's why this tournament's still around, and that's why every year, you know, you're one of the guys.
All right, guys.
You need to be in the top 50 power pole of Bowlers Journal. What do you got, man?
All right, Mike, I'm going to cut you off here. Joel is going for the first delivery in the 10th. Oh, no, and it's a soft 10. A soft 10 for Joel, so that'll end his streak. However, Dwayne just got the front 8, so I'm going to head down, and I'll keep you apprised from lane 46, and I'll keep you guys up to date on the action.
Does it reach all the way down there?
Oh yeah, we got long distance going here.
Well, Mike, while Matt's doing that, I just want to say I do appreciate the kind words, and certainly appreciate all the kind words. That's why we're here tonight. The folks asked for it, and we're here to deliver when we can. Certainly within reason, as Chris Johnson delivers a big double there.
He was sitting on the ball return for a minute, decided to really open him up and say, you know, I'm going to show everybody at home how you don't have to switch balls. You just move.
And Mike, as you talked about, a lot of changes here in 2013, and that's because we listened to the bowlers. The format this year, a little bit different. 6 on a pair for doubles and singles. We slowed down the pace for some of our older bowlers and just give everybody a chance to enjoy themselves a little bit more. And not flipping pairs for doubles and singles. All things, that we're doing to make this event better. Even at 110 years old, there's always room for improvement, and that's our goal every year, is to put on a good show and make it memorable for everybody who's here. And appreciate you coming in the booth here. You're certainly here to bowl. You're here for
heck yeah.
That's your business. Came to town. We appreciate you joining us. But what have you learned so far? I guess while we're here and we have the opportunity. You said you watched the broadcast, you've watched the scores, you've read the stories, and now you're watching firsthand. A little bit different strategy and some shots and things. But what's your game plan coming in tomorrow, is it?
Sunday. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to, with as many of my teammates as I can, we're going to watch Wriggles first of all tomorrow night and see if their plan works, which is awesome for us. That's like the Cliff Notes. That's the studying for the test tomorrow, watching them bowl. If that works well, I believe strategy is to use a little surface, 7, 8, 9-ish. Whoa, Jeff Carter just really pitched that one out the window. But use some surface and migrate in, and I'm probably going to switch to a polished ball, probably a gold IQ, about 3/4 of the way through game number 1, and hopefully be able to stick with that the rest of the night by just going a little left or right through the fronts, or maybe even a little loft. But I'm known more in the industry for the things that I've accomplished as far as providing things for other people to do, not my bowling ability, so to speak. I've never shot 1,800 at this tournament. I've shot 1,900 and something twice. But every other year has been 17s, and I think I even had a 16 in there one year. But I'll tell you a funny story, is I went on the Inside Bowling Facebook page today and posted that I was coming out here and asked people to guess my score, and the winner would win a Storm jersey. And when I came over here, there were 240 guesses. So there were a lot of people interested in what I'm going to bowl Sunday night. So I got to be honest, there's a little bit of pressure. I liked every comment that was over 2,000.
Of course.
And I actually went on and single-handedly liked every one of them. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, you only get one crack at this thing, too, which is, no re-entries. You get one crack at it. You got your teammates, and you take your chances.
Well, you got to have goals. You need to have a game plan for sure. It's, again, 9 games, and it goes quick. Once it gets underway, not a lot of time for decisions. You need to know what you're doing, and and have a plan for sure. Before you know it, it's over, and you're either celebrating or planning for next year. So interesting how this event works, and best of luck to you, of course.
Yeah, and I think at some point, if you got a chance to go over to Mel's Diner, I still got to pay off that milkshake bet from 2 years ago.
Well, I'm glad we haven't bet the last 2 years. I certainly did not set the bar very high for you. So.
Well, what was amazing is I shot 19, I don't know what it was, 19, 20, or 30, and I thought that was pretty safe. But you got me by, I think it was about 10, wasn't it?
It was a career year there for me. 19,
me too.
1940 and change, but it's been downhill ever since. Need to get back on track. Not sure what it is.
All right, guys. Update from 46 here. Dwayne went through the face and ended his streak at the front 8. He left a 3-6, so his streak for 300 is over. So I'll be heading back your way.
Well, Matt, we have some more exercise for you.
All right.
Down here on lane 13, Alex Borst. It's in our neighborhood, front 7 right now. So, again, a lot of strikes, but nobody's finished it off here in this team event, the 41-foot pattern. Conquering all of these players here. Pretty much have a full house on this team squad.
And Alex Borst, a guy who I bowled league with, and he's a Minnesota bowler, and I know his game pretty well. Good left-hander. Can really get on it.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to see where he ends up because this broadcast will be over because we're in the 10th frame over here. But, yeah, if you are just joining us, Matt, you got those scores here handy with these guys here. Eddie Bird's got 500 after 2. He opened with 233, 267, and Eddie's still bowling well. He can shoot 247, I believe it is. So, I mean, he's got a chance at almost 750. Bean, 214, 232. He's got a string going. Staub, 168, 206. So, would like to do a little better, but he's been grinding this game. Steph Nation had a great look with 234, 246, and then her shot's just gone away, and she's been grinding and working hard this game. Shoot 180 in the 180s, and Chris Johnson been throwing this disturb the whole night, 240, 266. I think he'll be the first to tell you he's had a couple lucky breaks here tonight, but he's just kept migrating in, and he's got 210 left. And then over on the other team for Team TurboTech, they really had a rough 10th frame the second game. Tom Adcock, 202, 222, and then his angles were the tightest this game and had to make a move at the end, doubled, and now he's staring at sub 200. So he'll be right around the 600 mark. Scott Raines, 210, 217. He's been able to get some strikes going this game, only missing twice through 9, so 7 strikes through 9. Jeff Carter, 201, 173. And he's got it going this game. Mike Peters, 211, 193. Got 268 left this game, and Dom Barrett subbing in for Jason Queen, 226, 187, and looks like 247 left this game. So some pretty big names with some sub 200 games, so it's not easy out here as all 10 of these bowlers have kind of attacked them with 2 different strategies. A couple of folks keeping their angles tight with Nation and Adcock, and most of the other folks deeper, and even as deep as 25 or so, as Eddie Bird has proven that there is a look on the inside part of the lane, as he's probably going to lead this pair with a mid 700 or low 700, depending on how he finishes up here in the 10th frame.
So, Mike, you've seen this little bit of a roller coaster ride we've seen on 21 and 22 here tonight at the NBS. Does that put the leaderboard in a little more perspective? 3,500s on top, 34-20 to make the top 10. Huge scores, but just, again, strategy and so many different things come into play. And, we see a big score here for Team High Five Gear. But, what's the perspective now that you've seen it in person a little bit?
Yeah, I'm going to know a lot more after tomorrow night with Wriggles, because those are going to be guys that are attacking them the same way. But I'll tell you what, I think I'd take Eddie Bird's series with this team against every one of those guys tomorrow night. I know Eddie's not done yet as he's getting ready to step up on 22. And, you know, I'm sure Eddie wants to give a shout out to everybody back home, too, that's probably watching. Alina and all the folks at St. Charles Lanes that have support Eddie, and he works for Daniel Puerto at Best Bowling Pro Shops representing St. Louis back home. Very proud here tonight bowling with these guys. So we'll get a look at Eddie here. Columbia staffer, as we mentioned earlier. And he's just had that. I mean, most of the night, you know, and a lot of bowlers come out here for the brackets, and, you know, 230, 260, 240. That's going to be, it's going to be a fun walk over to the sands for Eddie tonight.
The walk back will even be better with that wad of cash in his pocket.
Matt, you had to go there.
Hold on, I thought you guys didn't do this for the money. I thought it was all about that banner hanging over the lanes. I don't even think these guys got in brackets. They're here for the 3,400, no doubt.
Oh, I think they may have gotten in a few there, Mr.
I used to say a
Canizero.
lot that I like the word both, and I think that fits this particular dilemma that we're talking about. So Eddie, yeah, 247 possible. He's going to fill it up here. It's a well bowled set by Eddie Bird. If anybody's coming out that likes to really give the ball the business, watch Eddie Bird. You know, I wonder what would have happened if 5 Eddie Birds were on a team attacking them the same way with a companion team doing that. You know, and that's what Riggles has always said. He's always said that the way his team bowls with their rev rates, that's what they have to do. They don't even have this option. As everybody kind of claps for Eddie. It's a great set for Eddie Bird.
I think 22 needs new pins in the rack after that last one. I watched it from the side here. I'm down on 14, but he shredded that rack.
202 for Andy Staub, Daryl Bean 213, but Eddie Bird 247 puts him at 747.
All right, guys. Lane 14 here. We have Alex stepping up on the front 7. Now, I've kind of been the black cloud this evening. Hopefully, Alex can stave off the blues. He's setting up here. It looks like Alex has got his feet on about 20. And it looks like he's going to be targeting about 12 at the arrows.
And he's left-handed.
He's left-handed. He's playing deep. He gets it out to about 2. Wheels it. Oh, my. He crumbles down the bucket with the 7-pin. Guys, he had the bucket with the 7-pin standing, and they all kind of just crumbled in on each other. Quite an amazing turn of good fortune for Mr. Borst. He has 8 in a row.
That's 3 pairs away from what you're watching here on tonight's Bowl TV coverage. Matt McNeil hanging out here. Matt Cantanzero as always. And they let me sit in the booth tonight for a little while. I'm Mike Flanagan from InsideBowling.com and, still hard to say, Director of Marketing for Storm Bowling Products. And I have to mention again that if you want to go over to the Storm shop on StormBowling.com, you can enter in that coupon code BOWLTV. You can save 20%. Good today and tomorrow until midnight. Mountain time, I believe it is.
Well, with all the guys in the building tonight, I was actually just going to set things up and take the night off and have open mic night. All of you guys very knowledgeable in different areas of the sport. Mr. McNeil, Mike Flanagan, and everybody up top watching right now. Gail Myers, Jeff Riggles, Steve Richter, kind of the brains of that operation as far as the lane play and getting things ready for those guys to attack the lanes. And would have been a nice night for a dinner out. I know it would have been handled very well here as the action being called. And Chris Johnson now going to step up and try to finish things off strong here.
I have to give a shout out now that I look at my phone again to Jim Callahan, who has battled some health issues here recently. Salesman for Storm in the Las Vegas area. Checking in on the webcast. saying we're sounding good as always. Thank you, Jimmy. And, this is probably a good opportunity, too, real quick, as we wind this thing down. I went to these sales meetings for Storm, as the new guy in this director of marketing position. And to be the new guy in the #1 bowling ball company world, you just never know how you're going to be treated. And to say that I was treated well and with respect is an understatement. They welcomed me in with open arms. And Bob Hart is a gentleman we just saw recognized with the Dick Weber Ambassador Award. I got to meet Mr. Hart, and I can tell you they're the bowlers company and they're #1 for a reason. All the way from Bill Chrisman, who got emotional when thinking about being in a garage making ball cleaner, to what Storm has become today. It was quite touching when we went around the room at the end of the week, and you speak of Steve Richter. He was there as the brains of the operation for the 11thframe.com team, which we'll see tomorrow night. But it's a great company. I'm excited to be with them, and I'm excited to be able to take Inside Bowling forward as well, and to have a company on board with wanting us to still proceed forward with Inside Bowling and not just only do Storm is really unbelievable, and it's a testament to show how much they care about the game of bowling. So,
well, guys. Sorry to cut you off, Mike. I rained on Alex Borst's parade. He went through the face, left a 3-7, so that'll end that. And
can you get us an interview down here, maybe with Eddie Bird?
Yeah.
Maybe, and maybe Steph Nation. Maybe we could find out the two different styles, two different attacks of the lane play. See if Matt can get us an interview or two. And our statistician this week, as they would say on the PBA Tour, Matt Cantanzaro, is working diligently to get us our totals. But Matt McNeil is now standing by with 747. He flew in on a 747, and now he's here talking with Matty, going over his lane play tonight. It's Eddie Bird.
All right, guys. I am here with the Birdman of the National Bowling Stadium, Eddie Bird. Wow, what a great set tonight. How are you feeling about that?
Feeling really good. Our team bowled real well. We had a couple mishaps, but, it happens. I mean, it's all a team effort, and it was good. It was real good.
Well, I must say it was fun to watch. It's always a treat to have you on the lanes, watching you bowl. You're so smooth, and I know everybody back home was excited to see you doing well, and I think 22 needs some new pins after that last slasher you threw. But thanks again for the interview, and good luck tomorrow morning.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was Eddie Bird. Who else can you grab down there, Matt?
All right, guys. There's this lovely woman here, Stefanie Nation.
Matt, we've got a camera, so if you can go back to the other spot.
Okay. All right, I'll get her over here. All right, so I'm with Stefanie Nation over here, and Steph, great start, good first two games. Looked like kind of battled that last game. Can you tell us a little bit about what was going on that last game on the lanes?
Yeah, last game I don't know, my look kind of went away. The guys jumped way in, and if I get left, it's nosebleed for me. So I just tried to make some ball changes, but, didn't really, just wasn't there. So just kind of grinded it out and gave them all I could.
How do you feel about the team performance tonight? Obviously, 33-51, nothing to scoff at here at the National Bowling Stadium at the Open Championships. And it seemed like everybody's working well, jiving. Do you think your guys' strategy worked out well tonight?
I think so. I don't really ever buy into that stuff usually, but, they had a game plan and we stuck to it, and, it worked out in our favor in some ways. So I'm happy with how we bowled and just ready for tomorrow.
All right, well, I know you're getting up early in the AM to go bowl at the women's, so I'll wish you good luck over there, and, of course, good luck in minors here at the Open Championships, and thank you for taking a few minutes to answer a few questions for us. And, guys, one of the most talented and beautiful female bowlers in the world, Stefanie Nation, getting a few minutes for us.
Hey, could you grab Chris Johnson and talk about this Disturbed all night?
All right.
Maybe?
Mr. Chris Johnson.
Never changed balls that we know of.
All right. So the Disturbed all three games. Just tell us what you kept doing to keep that orb in your hands.
I didn't want to keep it in my hand because it didn't feel good, but it was the best look, and I had my buddy back here, Chris Castro, looking. He was spotting me the whole time on what the lanes were doing. Sometimes it's good for somebody else to see it. So he said, hey, you probably need to stick with that ball, make it look like a house shot. So they broke down just like a house shot. I mean, they were a couple of bad breaks at the last game for all of us, I thought. Other than that, I thought we bowled great.
Do you think the strategy really worked out well tonight?
Yeah, that plastic stuff, man. We had a ton of shots that we thought we pulled that would have went through the nose or Brooklyn and just pushed all the way down the lane. I think that plastic ball was really good strategy.
Well, it's a great bowling and team event tonight for you and your team. And, of course, best of luck tomorrow in your minor event. And I know Eric Vermillier will be watching all you guys intently. But good luck, and thanks for spending a couple minutes with us.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
All right. Chris Johnson, everybody. Chris Johnson.
Yeah, Matt. Chris Johnson, 7:16 tonight. Very quietly there. We were talking about the Bird man. Eddie Bird was 7:47, but Chris Johnson, 7:16. 240, 266, 210. And, Andy Staub shot 576 tonight. Mr. Bean, as we called him, 659. The Birdman, 747. Steph Nation, 653, and they just blew up on her that last game. Otherwise, she'd have had 700. And CJ was 716. They shoot 33-51, and they were the companion team tonight. They were the flying under the radar. Very talented team, but everybody was really kind of looking at Dom Barrett tonight and Team TurboTech with Jeff Carter, PBA champions, and it was 602 for Tom Adcock, 649 for Scott Rains, Jeff Carter 623, and it took 249 the last game to do that, Matt. And Mike Peters 661, steady as ever, and Dom Barrett only 648. So 3181 though, 3181, respectable score. It's obviously going to cash.
Certainly, and you almost think though that you're going to see more out of the big names, right? I think that's kind of the underlying thing I'm hearing from you. And I know I certainly thought, and it's one of the things, bowlers are human beings and they have days where it just doesn't jive and it doesn't click, and I certainly know what that's about. It's just unfortunate we didn't see, the full potential, what we could have seen out of these guys tonight. But hopefully they have a better day tomorrow in minors, and don't count them out by any means.
Well, it's probably about time to wrap this thing up, as we've been recapping this thing for a while. And the next Bowl TV broadcast is tomorrow night, same time, same bat channel.
Same bat time, same bat channel, indeed, sir.
We want to challenge everybody out there to get double the viewers that we had tonight. We know everybody can do that, and maybe we'll be back here again. Maybe we'll be invited back, Mr. McNeil.
I hope so. I don't know. Does Canizero and Smith want a night off, or what do you guys want? You just want to set it up. Yeah. We'll run the show here.
We need to also just mention this Aaron Smith guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I've really enjoyed this guy coming in part of this thing. And, I took his headset tonight, and he's graciously allowed that to happen.
Yeah, he's a good guy and a nice guy to bowl league with, too. I really enjoy bowling with Aaron and hanging out with him. So
is he on a ball staff or anything?
He should be.
I'm going to send him a storm ball for letting me sit in the booth and take his chair for the night.
Well, I'm sure he appreciates that.
I'm going to send him a storm ball.
About that, Mike Flanagan, the power of the new job at Storm.
Well, he is the director of marketing.
Yeah. There you go. What better way to get a ball out there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, tell me about it. He's just going to have to make sure that every 30 seconds on the air he's got to mention the ball.
I think he might bring it on the air, to be honest with you.
So, Mr. Canizero, is there anything that we need to let the folks at home know about that we haven't already?
Guys, we did a great job. We talked a little bit about everything. X-Bowling, the Open Championships, Storm Bowlers Regional Championships, 900 Global Showcase Lanes, mybowlingvacation.com.
I'll be there tomorrow at the Showcase Lanes.
So we
the
covered
Storm
it.
Bowlers Journal Championships. Record numbers.
Hey, that's the 900 Global Showcase Lanes to you there, pal. I'm just.
You're right.
It's the battle of the ball brands here as we wrap things up here, and this impromptu live stream broadcast. We had some great viewership, 500 plus. We appreciate all the hard work, everybody getting the word out. And certainly keep an eye on Bowl.com for some future Kamikaze broadcasts for sure. But tomorrow, as scheduled, lifetime average leader Gale Myers Jr., 5-time champ USBC Hall of Famer Jeff Riggles, and their very talented group. Don't want to spoil it all for you now, but join us here tomorrow at 10 Eastern on Bowl TV. We'll be back at it. Matt and Mike, Aaron Smith will all be here to bring the latest and greatest news to you from the National Bowling Stadium. We do appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you all for joining us at home. And we will see you tomorrow night. That's the news for now. We'll see you on the lanes.